Tonight on Bare Their Souls, Glynn Morgan of NBC Sports Chicago talks about the Bears draft with those two awful liberals, Dan and Aldo. Believe me, they are dogs. And again, they'll wait until 9 o'clock to bring in the star of the show, the incredible John Santucci. He's a great guy.
It's unbelievable. And Donald forgot to tease Nikki's return appearance on the show. Dan's future wife will answer the question, does her soon-to-be husband flush after she pees in his mouth?
Put the children to bed. It's time for Dan and Aldo to bare their souls.
I love the Chicago Bears more than I do masturbating, and that is a lot.
Then, with 3 seconds left, Bob Avellini throws a 30-something yard touchdown pass to Greg Latta, and the Bears win, and I literally shit my pants. I swear to God, I literally did.
Eric Kramer, for me, I love the guy. He's a tragic figure. I mean, he embodies all that is.
If they don't run the ball here, I'm going to vomit. I swear to God.
Look, I don't mean any disrespect. He just didn't play that well. Not for a guy of his caliber.
You know, they won, but I'm going to be miserable all week because they stunk.
I don't really have any recollection of that at all, but I guess perhaps I blacked it all out.
So, Dan, tape is the ultimate tool for scouts and for coaches to evaluate players, to detect plays and so forth. And they spend hours looking at tape, right? Why do they so often get shit wrong?
I love the efficiency of bourbon.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dan and Aldo.
Oh, yeah. Merry Christmas, everyone. If you're a Bears fan, a football fan, this is Christmas week because we've got a draft coming up. You're going to get all these nice presents. Aguire, how are you, my friend?
I'm well, man. Have you listened to any Chicago radio this week?
Not much.
David Kaplan had a line that gave me chills.
Really?
He said something to the effect of, that this Thursday, the draft, is the biggest day in the history of the Bears franchise, sans Super Bowl 20.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I have to agree with that. I listened to Caleb Williams in that interview that he did with 3 former football players, including Ryan Clark, who is over at ESPN, and I was mesmerized by Caleb. I think that this guy could do what Walter Payton and Michael Jordan did for the Chicago Sports. Listen to him here talking about winning.
Well, everything for me is winning, whether I'm playing one of my favorite card games, Monopoly Deal, or whether I'm playing video games, or whether I'm playing, out there at the Coliseum, or maybe in Chicago.
Now, I got to tell you, man, I love hearing that from our future number 1 pick. The guy sounds like he's ready to come here and get to work.
Yeah, and I like that he expanded on, because everyone was like, was that staged when he cried in front of his mom? Was that against Washington, I think?
Yes, against Washington.
Again, the stands. He gave a full 4-minute response to that. So he wasn't running from it at all, and it seemed like it was genuine, his explanation, saying that I cry every time we lose. It just hit me hard when I got to my mom and she touched me and I saw her, and I knew that my college career was over. We weren't going to win the national championship. We weren't going to make it to the playoffs. And he said, it just hit me all at once. I was like, man, I love that authenticity.
And if you listen to the entire interview, and I heartily recommend that you do, he sets up everything perfectly because he starts talking about the importance of his mom and dad. He talks about, the influence that his dad had, the influence that his mom had. And when he goes through all of that, you can understand why he got so emotional. I mean, he said, I ran up to her, and as soon as I touched her, it opened up all of these emotions, and she realized that he was crying like a baby, and so she tried to cover up so that the cameras wouldn't catch him crying so much. You know what? Michael Jordan cried when he won an NBA championship because his father died. Mike Schmidt cried
too,
like
though.
it wasn't the Lakers. It was because it was title number 4.
Well, I know they beat Seattle, but when he first got the trophy after they beat the Lakers, he cried when he was hugging it.
Okay. That's right. That's right. How can I forget? Exactly. It's that kind of mentality. Walter Payton crying on the sidelines for his final game. Mike Schmidt of the Phillies crying at his retirement. I listened to Isaiah Thomas and talking about, how they lost in the NBA finals and how emotional it was. The people who are great at what they do have that level of a will to win, and this guy apparently has it. I'm thrilled by it, man.
I'm excited. We've had so many shows. We've talked about it, like a dead zone for football the last month or two, and other people that don't do it, may think, they're talking about the same shit or whatever. It's hard to create. As you know, you're doing all these shows. Hell, I'm only doing one. So you're coming up with content for like 20 shows a week when there's been nothing to talk about. But finally, the draft is in 2 days, and then I guess we're involved on Friday too, and then maybe we trade down and get some for Saturday. But either way, the next month's content is right there. Mm-hmm. Thank God, right? Thank God.
Thank God, right? That's right. And by the way, I told Tooch and Dan last week that I'm going to do a couple more shows after the draft, and then I'm going to take a break for a while, do a little traveling with the wife, take care of some of the sick relatives. I talked to my brother today.
Right.
And the first thing he says was, can I have a beer? I'm like, what the fuck?
Did he really say that?
Yes.
Oh, that's great. So he's lucid then. He's talking.
Yeah,
he knows what's happening. Does he know about Fields?
He, there was sometimes when you say something to him, you're not quite sure he's getting it. But I told him about Fields going to the Steelers, and I'm going to see him again Tuesday. He's just making more and more progress every day. So I expect the next time I see him, he'll be telling me the Steelers roster,
or he'll be telling you something political.
Yeah. America should invade Mexico was one of the last political things we talked about. I'm like, what's wrong with you? So, by the way, Glynn Morgan is coming onto the show, and I mistakenly told Dan Aguire that it was Glenn Milburn.
I was like, Glynn Milburn, what a dangerous man. He was a solid returner. And you're like, no, not him. I was like, what do you mean not him? That's Glenn Milburn.
He is with NBC Sports, and he was a big Justin Fields backer. And when I saw him on Football Night in Chicago on NBC Sports, Mark Carman they were having a little bit of a debate. Mark is saying, you got to draft Justin. And Glenn was saying, why? Give this guy another year. He's been developing, but I don't want to focus on that too much with him tonight. I want to get his thoughts about things moving forward. And I'm super excited about Caleb Williams right now because the more and more I hear him talk, the more and more I see him play. I see something special in this guy. Totally. In fact, let me show you. This is he recalled in that show, The Pivot. Again, you can find it on YouTube. Just search The Pivot. And this is him talking about a play when he was in Oklahoma. So this was before he went to USC. He followed Lincoln Riley, his head coach, to USC. And Ryan Clark asked him about this play. It was 4th down and 1. And Caleb was not happy with the play call. And so he took things into his own hands. Check this out.
Before the play, Lincoln calls this play where I don't have an option to do anything with the ball. I have to hand it and disappear, maybe get a block. So I look at Lincoln and he's giving me a play, and Lincoln and I, we had a great relationship. We were one, and He gave me the play, and I look at him, and I'm like, I'm shaking my head. No. If you go back and watch, I pat on my chest. I'm like, give me the ball. He gives me the play again. And when he gives me the play again, I'm like, okay. And I was angry. I was actually furious. I call a play, give everybody the play, wide receivers, O-line, running back, and hand it off. And then he gets stopped behind the line of scrimmage. If anything bad happened, it was already 4th down. So if they stopped us, we were going to be stopped right there. If we fumble, it was fumble right there. If whatever case, it was going to be a turnover on downs. So I just went in.
3rd and 1. Brooks this time spins off one. They get stopped. No, Williams took it out of his arms magically. What a play, leaving the Jayhawks shocked in his wake.
I just went and play ball, backyard football. When everybody gets in the little jump, when you grab them for the ball, and you get out, and now you're like, now it's time to go score. And everybody's grabbing on your legs and feet and things like that. So that's what it was. I've reached in there, just got to have it, kind of heads up kind of play, just get the first down best way possible, easy way possible at that time. And
when you took the ball,
I thought I was going to score. Because when I took it, when I first started taking it, I could see that nobody was there.
Right.
And the one dude that tackled me, if he didn't tackle me, I was going to score.
That's pretty amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, I didn't know that play. I saw probably 80-90% of that. Actually, I listened to it, the audio version of that interview. I didn't listen to that part. I've listened to most of it, though.
Yeah, at least everyone in the chat, all Chicago Bears fans, at least catch 10, 15 minutes of it, because you're going to get a really good idea of who this guy is. And, I love that competitive spirit. There are certain players that you will allow them to say, fuck that. I don't like that play. Call a different play. And guys like that are Michael Jordan, Walter Payton, other great superstars, Tom Brady and so forth. And this guy could earn our trust that when he disagrees with Shane Waldron on a play call, we're going to say, please listen to Caleb.
Right.
By the way, I got to interrupt our discussion here just to tell you that I've got the capability here in my control room to see the images of our guests that are waiting backstage. I'm looking at Nikki right now, and I got to tell you, she looks so fucking sexy.
Well, thank you.
She is like, I think she thinks maybe that I'm sexy because the way she's looking at me with her alluring eyes and stuff. So we'll get to the bottom of this.
Hey, one political thing, get out of the way. Did you see who's campaigning or advocating for Trump? And not only that, on Sean Hannity's show from ESPN?
No, who's that?
Stephen Asshole Smith.
I'm not surprised.
The A is for asshole.
Yeah.
He is a Trump advocate. He was on Hannity's show, of all people.
Mm-hmm. Did that upset you when you heard that?
It kind of made me irate because they remember back in the day, they wouldn't allow some of the other, remember who was it? Michael Smith and a couple of the other ladies on the 6 p.m. Sports Center that were doing a liberal take. They basically canceled their show.
Mm-hmm. But did he say that? Did he say that on ESPN or he was?
Oh, no, he went to Hannity's show, but still,
I think, the difference
he even compared Trump to the struggles of black people, saying that like he's gone through similar struggles and that's why black people identify with him. The whole narrative, maybe it's not for me as a white guy to shit on, but I thought, that's a stretch.
I think the difference with Michael Smith, and I'm trying to remember her name, anyway, was that they were talking about it on ESPN. They were being critical of Donald Trump on ESPN, and on their Twitter handles, they had ESPN branding or mentioning that they were, and so they were associating ESPN in a way, you could kind of say, in a way, they were associating ESPN with that political dialogue, and they don't want anything to do with that.
Well, they gave Keith Olbermann an ultimatum. When he was still at ESPN, they told him he could not go on other networks and talk politics. So it'll be interesting to see if they allow Stephen A. Smith to continue that.
Yeah, it is. C Sharp is right. Jamil Hill was the broadcaster with ESPN, and she's just gotten more and more controversial since she left ESPN. I like some of her takes on things, and some things I don't like. Cliff says I always liked these, and now he likes them more.
See, I always hated him because he was constantly talking shit about Cutler. Always.
Yeah, that's right. He was.
Yeah,
Always.
so it made me really, really hate him.
Mm-hmm. By the way, I got let's see if I loaded it here. Donald Trump. Yeah, here it is. He has a message for Cliff Victoria.
Cliff Victoria is my favorite barfly. He needs his own show at the bar room. Replace those liberals.
There you go, Cliff. The former president wants you to take over the show from Dan and myself. So the other thing is, Dan, since you haven't been following college football, you really aren't, super up to speed with the draft choices available.
Right.
What is your expectation for this upcoming draft? What is it that you most want to see the Bears walk away from?
It's all about Caleb at this point, because there's no backup plan. I know there's some people that love Bajent. Again, I'm from West Virginia. I'm familiar with his high school. They beat the community I live in is the team that his team beat to win the state title this year. Martinsburg beat Princeton. So I'm very familiar with Bajent. I don't want Bajent as the starter. We've traded Justin clearly. So the most important thing to me is getting that quarterback right and not trying to be funny or smarter and like, oh, who are they draft? Oh, Mitchell Trubisky. Okay. Yeah, you don't want to hear the Bears have selected Drake May. It's got to be Caleb Williams. Everything else you hope they get right, but that is the main thing. I know it seems like a slam dunk that's where they're going, but until they've announced it, they could be talked out of it.
I totally agree with you. I mean, they were asked that day, being Ian Cunningham and Ryan Post, they met with the media today, and they were asked, how come you're not making that announcement? He said, the question was, is it an absolute certainty that Caleb Williams would be the number one choice? And Post smiled and said, you're going to have to wait till Thursday to find out. Now, the way I read it, it was that he just didn't want to give it away, but it's you never know.
As you hear Caleb say, he's wearing a navy blue suit Thursday, though, so that made me happy.
Oh, I missed that part. Was that on the pivot?
I heard that on ESPN with Kaplan or somebody, maybe with Waddle and Sylvie. One of them said that he was wearing a navy suit.
This is Poles commenting on Caleb being the number one pick.
So, unfortunately, it's one of those things I think everyone's got to tune in on Thursday to watch and figure it out. But I feel really good about our process and where we are and where we're headed. So, we know what we're going to do, but everyone's going to have to wait till Thursday to go there.
Yeah. Did you see where he's been criticized recently by maybe it was what's his name? It used to be on Monday Night Football, Louis Riddick.
Yeah.
Someone was saying that I forget who I read, was criticizing the Bears process, that they didn't properly vet the other quarterbacks. And it's just like, damn, if this is the kid they like so much that they traded Justin before his medicals even got to them, then that's their guy. Why fuck around and just do what they were criticizing the process. The Bears always get, it's like if they don't draft him, they'll be ripped. And I guess if they do draft him, they'll still be criticized.
See, normally I would agree with that approach. Like, I criticize Ryan Post for not having dinner with Deshaun Watson. He just had dinner with Mahomes and Mitchell Trubisky, and he still made the wrong decision.
Right.
But this season, it is so obvious that Caleb is heads and shoulders above the rest of the quarterbacks. This was, in November, even though Caleb's USC team was losing, they already knew Justin hasn't played well enough this season to justify him returning. His salary demands after 2024 are going to be so high. This allows us to reset the clock, for us to bring in players like Keenan Allen and so forth, because the salary is going to be okay. So, I don't agree with who was it that said it?
I think it was Louis Riddick.
Riddick. Well, he's still pissed off that he didn't get the Bears GM job.
Evidently. And he said that he was not the best quarterback in the draft. He said the kid from LSU was.
See, I don't get that at all. I like him. I like most of the quarterbacks. I think Drake May is going to be a good NFL quarterback if he gets with the right team and he can sit for a season. I think Jaden Daniels could be a very special quarterback. I'm not a big fan of J.J. McCarthy out of Michigan, but I think he could potentially become a good quarterback. Everybody talks about how, he ran a pro-style offense. He didn't run a pro-style offense if he's just throwing 9-10 times a game. That to me is not a pro-style offense. So who else? The guy that I like most as a dark horse to be a really good NFL quarterback is the lefty. Yeah, maybe I'm biased because I'm left-handed. But Michael Penix out of Washington, I think he's going to be a great NFL quarterback. So that's unfortunately, we're not going to see that in Chicago, at least with Penix. So looking through comments in the chat room, we should leave Fields out of discussions. He did everything he could to overcome a bad situation. I totally agree with you.
I'm a fan. How many times do I have to say it?
Yeah,
I love it.
We I think Dan and I are in total unison. We hope that he takes the Steelers to the Super Bowl, and then in the Super Bowl, we kick his ass. Yes.
or he plays such a great game that he's somehow MVP, because that has happened before, albeit in Super Bowl V. But
Chuck Howley.
From West Virginia University. But he could be the losing team and the MVP. So Fields has such a great game. He's the MVP, but the Bears still win. That's what I'd love to see.
Nikki's still looking at me with those eyes, with those bedroom eyes, man. I'm telling you.
She definitely loves her eyes.
Look at this. Tell me she doesn't look gorgeous. Tell me she doesn't look gorgeous.
Well, that's my opinion, clearly.
What a tease, huh? What a tease. She'll be joining us in about an hour, and we're waiting the arrival of Glynn Morgan.
And that talk's going to be rated R, by the way.
Oh, yeah. So if you don't like politics and sex, you better leave.
That's how the show's been marketed, though, the whole time.
Since we began, no doubt about it. Don Burr of the Detroit Lions fan says, "Hey, although Detroit on Thursday can't run Canyon Hyde." Does that make sense to you?
I guess somebody they're drafting is going to be a Hall of Famer?
I don't know. I think Don has been sniffing too much glue.
Is this his first appearance since they lost the title game?
No, he's been on our shows. Like every show, he's made an appearance and talked shit.
He wasn't there when they blew that big lead for at least a couple weeks.
Yeah, we had on Swifty from Swift Sportsnet and Greg on Greg's show Monday, and I had to put Don on timeout like 6-7 times. He would come back with a alias account, like Brad Holmes, GM Lions. I knew
the burner accounts.
The burner accounts, yes.
Oh, no, let's not bring that up.
No, absolutely not.
Hey, Don, if you're listening, though, even though I'm a Bears fan, I was pulling for you guys in the championship game. I truly was.
Yeah, I'm like you. I've always had kind of special feelings towards the Lions. Yeah, I don't want them to beat us, but they have suffered just like Chicago Bears fans have suffered. There used to be a time where I would root for the NFC North or NFC Central teams if they were in the playoffs and the Bears weren't. I don't do that much anymore because we got disrespected so often from Green Bay, Minnesota, and Lions fans that I don't root for anyone other than the Chicago Bears. And if they're not in the playoffs, I'll watch the games for entertainment purposes only. You wouldn't root for Patrick Mahomes under any circumstance, right?
And if he was playing Green Bay, I would.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, so I rooted for San Francisco to beat Green Bay, clearly. Then I rooted for Detroit to beat San Francisco. That didn't work. And then I rooted for San Francisco to beat KC, and then that didn't work. Mm-hmm. But at least the Packers didn't go again.
Yeah.
Because I thought for sure Dallas was going to handle them. And then I wake up that day at like 6 p.m. East and Green Bay's up by like 27. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? But anyway.
Our star says, although Daniels beat out Williams for the Heisman Trophy and played in the best conference in college football. So why do you think Williams is so much better? All right, winning the Heisman Trophy really doesn't mean shit. It's the best. It means you're the best college football player and it's still opinion based. Williams played for a much better team, LSU, than Daniels did. Daniels didn't have an offensive line. He didn't have the trio of receivers that Daniels had. Williams had a bad offensive line. The quality of the wide receivers was not as good as LSU receivers. And most of all, the defense was so terrible for USC. It continually put Williams in tough situations. LSU just had a much, much better team. And you got to look at the tape and study the tape, and you will see things in Caleb Williams that no other quarterback in the National Football League does. And I bet you that Glynn Morgan of NBC Sports, he's setting up his camera right now, I bet you he's going to agree with me. I think he is ready to go. Let me bring him in. Let me get rid of this comment. There he is, Glynn Morgan.
Can I give you a quick tease before you start the interview?
Sure.
We got news on the stadium front tomorrow.
That's right.
As you know, and schedule talk will begin soon too. That'll probably be in 2 weeks from Thursday or maybe next Thursday possibly. But let's go to the interview.
There you go. Let me bring him in there. There he is, Glynn Morgan. What's happening, brother?
Hey, how's it going, Aldo? How's everybody feeling today?
Good. The guy on the far left of your screen is Dan Aguire. He's my co-host. He joins us via computer, but we don't get to see his face because, as you can see behind him, he is a wanted criminal in 13 states.
Pay no attention to the man behind the camera. I got it.
There you go. By the way, we've had visits today from various presidents, and I've got a message here from one of the presidents. Let's see. It's Joe Biden, the current president.
I'd like to welcome Glynn to the show. It's been a long time since we have had someone who knows what the fuck he's talking about. Glynn, I've got a question for you. How confident are you that the Bears will get a new stadium done? I mean, I don't have much time left. I'm hoping for 4 more years.
So that's
I believe it'll get done at least
segue.
within 4 years. Right.
That's a perfect segue because Dan was just talking about the announcement tomorrow by the Chicago Bears that they have come to an agreement on a lakefront stadium. What are your thoughts about what's been happening? Are the Bears still kind of playing poker a little bit and trying to get the Arlington Heights people to knock down that tax price to virtually nothing? Or do you think it's going to be Chicago?
Man, ultimately I'll believe it when I see it. That's pretty much how I feel. I was all bought in on Arlington. I got convinced. I was thinking of a Bears utopia, a Bears playland, and I was really looking forward to that. Looking at it as a situation where you can go away for the weekend but still be at home, so to speak. Just all types of, different ideas and just how much fun it could be. The lakefront, although aesthetically will look wonderful and it's still accessible in terms of Chicago, and it is still being in Chicago, so you kind of feel that affinity for it. It seems, for me, a little more limiting than what Arlington seemed the expanse and much more what you can do with it, a lot more play, a lot more give. But regardless, I just want something to be done. And if it's done in Chicago, fantastic. I know it'll look fantastic. I think that they'll make that happen as opposed to the previous mistake by the lake. I know we're not Cleveland, but that spaceship I was never really fond of that the Bears have been playing in. But I think aesthetically it'll look fantastic. And as long as it's multi-purpose, that you can use it for indoor activities, NCAA tournament, Olympics, World Cup, all these types of things where sometimes weather has gotten in the way. This will be something that we can look forward to having more than just the Bears and be able to enjoy Chicago and everybody else enjoy Chicago the way that we do.
Dan lives in West Virginia, and so he'll fly in from time to time to watch a game in Soldier Field. Dan, tell Glynn your feelings about the stadium.
I love Soldier Field, man. I always feel like it's special every time I'm there. I know everyone makes the space shuttle jokes and such. But if you go back to 03, I mean, there was a little bit of that at the time, but for the most part, you know, it took all of 2002 to get it built. Like, no one was saying that it was trash or any of the things that people use today. Most of that wasn't around, with the exception of the space shuttle reference. So everyone thought it was state of the art at the time. I mean, everyone was happy that the Bears stayed when they weren't going to Gary, Indiana, or any of that bullshit. So I like the stadium. I feel like every time I'm there, it's my favorite place to watch a game. But I know I'm in the minority.
Yeah, I think you're right. Everyone was happy that the Bears stayed in Chicago, but for the most part, a lot of people were displeased by the outcome of the way it looks. It's like, really, this is what we waited for? And I'm going back, and I'm probably, you look like a younger guy than me, so I'm going back to when the Bears actually sat beyond 65,000, where it was a lot more fans there. You know, I go back to where sometimes you'd have. I remember vaguely. Sometimes you'd have. I remember old man talking about the college all-stars would play whoever won the championship the year before in the NFL. So I just remember the stadium having so many more. And then I remember when they blocked it off and we cut down the amount of fans you could have there back when there was AstroTurf on the field or whatever they called it. You know, with the colonnades being there, that seemed to be the one thing they kept, but it didn't have the same feel and it didn't have the same authenticity with what was on top of the colonnades. And I think that's where fans, those who born, raised, and no disrespect to you being in West Virginian, but those born.
But I am going to be 44. You know, I've been watching the Bears my whole life. Like since I was 7 is when I jumped on the bandwagon because of Jim McMahon. So I'm not a Johnny come lately though, for real.
Oh yeah. I got you by a decade or so. So.
All right, so let's talk about the Bears and the draft. Glynn, you know, we've gotten all this new information about Caleb. He's been meeting with the media. He had a great interview on The Pivot. You know, he's talked to other members of the media. What's your feeling on Caleb Williams now, and what do you think his success or non-success will look like with Chicago?
Yeah, the latter part first, yet to be determined, obviously. We have to see what happens once he gets here. There's so many aspects and nuances to being in the NFL, regardless of position, but especially when it comes to the quarterback position. It's one thing that I've said and I stand by. I think and believe wholeheartedly that quarterback is the most important position in all of team sports, regardless of the sport. That being said, it's also the most interdependent position in all of team sports. You really have to have everybody else do their job to help you do your job better, so you can excel. And you can take Patrick Mahomes. He's at the top of his game. He is the face of the NFL. As great as he is, they don't win that championship if Chris Jones doesn't do what he did against San Francisco, if they don't have a ball bounce their way, if the coaches don't make the right call, if someone doesn't block, if someone doesn't catch. All those things help Patrick Mahomes be able to be the closer that he is. So with that being said, with Caleb, you know, he has a ways to go once he begins in the NFL. Again, with that being said, I believe that polls has set him up as best as you possibly can. And again, I'm going to show my age a little bit. And all the time I've been watching, I've yet to really recall someone having as much built for them to come in and to succeed or have the potential to succeed. I remember Peyton Manning had Marvin Harrison, but it was a young Marvin Harrison. And he also had Marshall Faulk, and those guys are in the Hall of Fame. So it wasn't like he didn't have anybody once he got here. And he had a pretty decent line, and then later on he got additional weapons. But Caleb was starting out with a potential Hall of Famer already. He has seasoned veterans at the receiving corps and even his tight ends. He has a full complement of running backs with versatile skill sets, but guys that can, two of those guys can score from maybe 60, 70 yards out with their speed. You have an improving offensive line. I do believe that the interior is still a question mark and a concern for me. But as long as the center is not making our quarterback play center field or shortstop by having to catch or dig ball off the ground, that's an upgrade. I think the tackles are young and improving and athletic, which can help, especially someone like Caleb, who likes to run out of the pocket and play out of structure at times. Those athletic tackles who can move and block and continue to block on your blind side or your back side, those things can be useful. I also believe that having the defense that we have, at worst, I think we're a top 10 defense. At best, I think we're top 3 as this year will once the 2024 season begins, once that campaign begins. So I say all that to say that even if Caleb struggles, and by struggles I mean just acclimating like a rookie would to the NFL, that defense is going to provide some cover for him. Any mistakes he makes, the defense can probably get the ball back or at least help with positioning in the field. Caleb shouldn't have to make 10 play drives and 70-yard drives all the time. He should be 50, 40 yards, and those things can help. Getting in field position, our special teams is solid. And with the new offensive coordinator, we have someone who's not new to the job. They're not wet behind the ears at being an offensive coordinator, someone who is good at play calling, designing plays, utilization of players, all the rosters and the plays, and also the developing the players that you have. He has all these things before he hits the ground running. So I see him being in a situation where success is just a matter of if, not necessarily a matter of when, not if. So I think we'll be good. I think Caleb has shown through that interview you earlier alluded to the pivot, and again, if anyone has a chance to watch it, I think it's a really good interview. And those guys do a really good job interviewing players, by the way, and the like. But Caleb, what I didn't know is just how mature he really is and how mature he's been. It's not news, and he may beat to his own drum. And I think here in Chicago in the Midwest, there's a certain style or a certain aspect personality-wise that we sort of are used to, and I think his is a bit more eclectic, and that's just something that we have to ourselves get used to. But I think he's authentic. I think he's authentic to himself, and that's the most important thing. And as long as he's consistent and genuine in how he goes about his business, I think we'll be fine. I think the guys in the locker room, there won't be a problem, and I really am looking forward to seeing an offense that has some versatility. And if we do something with the 9th pick that I think we may do, in terms of going receiver, that would be something else that allows not just this offense to gel and continue to grow, but for that synergy between quarterback and wide receiver, that tandem that seems to be such an important element to a lot of successful franchises. You see with Mahomes, it wasn't so much the wide receivers. Tyreek Hill left, but who stayed? The Hall of Famer Travis Kelce. You looked at, earlier, I talked about Peyton Manning and him and Marvin Harrison. And you can just don't go down the line, Aikman, Irving, I mean, just whomever. Usually there is a connectivity between the quarterback and one of his receivers, and if not more players, but definitely that tandem. And potentially that could happen by the end of at least the beginnings of that. The origin can begin this Thursday.
What do you how do you respond to Mr. Mayhem bringing up the Notre Dame game? He says, what happened about Caleb versus Notre Dame? What are your thoughts on that game, and what kind of a blemish did it leave in Caleb?
I say, man, we're human. We all have good days and bad days. So we're going to have a good game and a bad game. I'm sure my bowling teammates are a little frustrated with me this past weekend. I didn't step up and get 3 strikes in the 10th. And, I felt like in the 10th frame, I felt like I let us down, and we were in the playoffs. Did I cry? No. I'm a little bit older than that. But no, I joke and I chide Caleb. It was an emotional moment. I think there was so much riding. He addressed a little bit of that in the pivot, but I think there's so much riding on that. And we don't understand what's going on in someone's mind, what they're going through, what they've experienced, how much they may invest in that particular moment, that particular game. And sometimes things happen where the culmination of things, the finality of something may hit you all at once. And I believe it did that with Caleb, because with that loss, Heisman gone, national championship, Pac-12 championship gone, all those things were gone. A lot of the goals, and when you're so entrenched in what you want to do and you're so hyper-focused like he is, he had a human moment. As far as the game itself, look, man, it's the second time they played him. They scouted him well. The offensive line wasn't as good as it was the previous year. The receivers weren't at the same level. And I'm not saying that that's why he threw 3 interceptions the way he threw them, but those things are additives. You have to factor those in as to what may have caused that. And he forced things, and that happens. And I mean, show me one quarterback who's never had a bad game, and I'll show you somebody who's playing Madden on easy level.
There you go. That's me. Casey wants to know from you, what do you think we should do for wide receivers and edge rusher backups, as it seems we don't have much on the roster that are proven players so far?
Yeah, that's kind of where I go back to my months ago, earlier thing where I wanted us to trade down with the first pick. I really felt that with this particular draft class, there's so much talent and so much talent at positions that were of need for us. And I felt that we can entrench ourselves with those talented players and set ourselves up for a future next couple of drafts to be able to get more and more talent to where you have the structure in place. I feel that with the structure in place, regardless, I shouldn't say regardless of who your quarterback is, but I would say sometimes in spite of who your quarterback is, you can still have success. You can just look as recently as the Cleveland Browns last year, 4 or 5 quarterbacks, and they still won 11 games in the toughest division, in the toughest conference in all the NFL. You look at the 49ers over the last, 5 to 6 years, they've been to 2 Super Bowls and had a 10-point lead or double-digit lead in the fourth quarter in both of those Super Bowls with quarterbacks that were not, guys that were first-round picks. And Garoppolo was someone they traded for from New England, and obviously Purdy was the last pick in the draft. So to be able to do that means to me that having that structure in place helps you deal with the rigors of the NFL and all the things that happen through attrition, injury, whatever the case might be. So that being said, to your question, I believe that. I'm sorry, please repeat the question.
Let's see. It was from one of our followers here. I forgot what he says. We'll just move on to the next one.
Well, I apologize, but I think more or less to the question, I think that, the Bears have situated themselves depth. I think that was a question, and that's why I went on that tangent. I apologize. Yeah, I'm a little bit of concern with 4 picks, really 3 picks, because we already know who the first pick's going to be. I believe Poles, he hasn't had a draft where he hasn't had anything less than 6 picks, so I believe there will be a trade down. However, I don't think it'll be at 9. I think if Odunze's there, that's who's going to be taken. If Odunze isn't and Neighbors isn't there, and I don't expect Marvin Harrison Jr. to be there, if one of those 3 wide receivers, if all 3 are gone, I don't believe he'll use the 9th pick on an edge rusher. I think at that point he may trade back, and then you have to find a trade partner. And that could come in the form of the Philadelphia Eagles at 22. The Eagles and Howie Roseman always trades up, and he's made several moves with the Bears, so they have that relationship. And if that were the pick, say, to move back, and you can acquire maybe a 2nd-round pick in addition to moving back to 22, I think wide receivers like Brian Thomas Jr. from LSU will be there. I'm really high on him, exceptionally high on wide receivers from LSU or Ohio State. Those guys are always trained exceptionally well and very good route runners and seem to have very little, almost a seamless transition to the NFL. Or if he's gone, A.D. Mitchell out of Texas, Donnie Mitchell, physical receiver, big receiver. And I picked those 2 guys because they represent something the Bears don't necessarily have at this moment, and that's that deep threat, that scary speed that makes teams have to play back and gives you that underneath, making them more available for other players who work below. And keep in mind that you already have Keenan Allen on the roster and DJ Moore with Cole Kmet. You're not going to, if you're that 3rd wide receiver, if you're Odunze, Mitchell, or Brian Thomas, whoever you are not going to be double covered. They just can't afford to double cover you. They're not. They're going to be left with maybe the 2nd or 3rd best defensive back on the team, and there's not going to be a lot of safety help over the top. So, and if there is, the underneath is wide open, and then you've got the running backs who also can catch the ball at the backfield, and with Swift, you have someone who's a really good route runner on top of being a good pass catcher with that explosive speed. And if all those guys are covered, guess what? Caleb can still run the ball too. Now, he's not Justin Fields. He doesn't have 4.4 speed, but he's got 4.5 speed. He can get you 15, 20, maybe not 40, 60, but 15, 20. So I think the Bears offense with that wide receiver gives you what you're going to need on offense. As far as that edge rusher and the depth, and that's something that, again, a position, we need somebody opposite Montez Sweat, especially if Sweat goes down, we're in trouble. I think the Bears defense doesn't necessarily need to have a sack artist on the team to be successful. I believe they need to have someone who can create pressure. And if you are able to trade from the 9th pick down bit and you acquire a 2nd-round pick, say it's Philadelphia Eagles and either it's the 50th pick or the 53rd pick, they have 2 2nd-round picks. If it's one of those 2, I think a talent like Braylon Trice out of Washington is there, and I am super high on him, especially I think he fits so much more schematically with what the Bears do and how they go about their business on the defensive line. And keep in mind, everybody, that Braylon, that the Bears defense, a lot of it's predicated, I said, not on sacks, but pressure. That pressure leads them to turn turnovers. And you saw what happened once Montez got here. The Bears defense seemed to gel better, and they became ball hawks in like the second half of the season. And the Bears ended up with 22 interceptions last year, tied for number one in the NFL. And a lot of that came in the last like 5 to 6 games. So I think with the hitting the ground running this year, especially if you get an additional edge rusher and someone like Braylon Trice, who led the country last year in pressures with 79, I think that helps build on what the Bears are doing, gives you that opportunity. As I said before, if Caleb struggles a little bit, Bears can get the ball back or better position themselves with the defense and getting field position, which is an element of the game I think we really ignored a lot last year. I don't think we took advantage of being able to leverage our defense and our special teams to put the offense in situations where it wasn't all put on an offense that was still trying to figure things out collectively. So I hope I answered the question that was posed earlier, but I do think that the Bears do trade back. It could be at 75. And even if they keep Odunze, or I'm sorry, if they keep the 9th pick and take Odunze, I think at 75, you can trade back a little bit. Maybe a team like the Baltimore Ravens, who have a couple of picks in the 4th round, you can get an additional, you can drop the space from 75 to 93. I think that's where the Ravens have their 3rd round pick, and then maybe pick up a 4th round pick and 111, 112, somewhere around there. And there you can kind of get maybe a second wide receiver. I think we need more than one wide receiver, to be quite honest with you. We need depth in that area, and we need talent. And someone like Brendan Rice, who has a connectivity of being a teammate with Caleb. I'm not saying there'll be Jamar Chase and Burrow and Joe Burrow, but you do have some synergy there, and you have someone who's dependable. And Brendan Rice, again, bloodlines mean something to me. I hope other people can see that. We've got 2 Hall of Fame wide receivers who have their sons in this draft, and Marvin Harrison Jr. and Brendan Rice. And those guys are touchdown makers, and that gives you another element in the red zone and someone that you already have a relationship with. And I'm talking about Caleb and Brendan Rice, to where there's trust, and you don't have to build on something you don't have to create something that's already something that you began a relationship with and had that synergy from playing together last year.
Glynn, I'd like to ask you a question, circle back a few minutes when you were talking about the athletic tackles. The one thing that I've not been sold on with the Bears, and no disrespect to Charles Leno, who played, he wasn't great, but he was always answering the call and started. But I don't think we've had a good left tackle since like John Tate. Or we're going back like to the 06 team, since it felt like that I was comfortable as a fan thinking, all right, the offensive line's okay. So do you think, and I'm not saying you're wrong, I'm just a meat-headed fan here, do you think the Bears believe in Braxton Jones? Or is the 9th pick a possibility for a lineman as well? Because I still think they need a left tackle, but that's just my opinion.
You know, it's a great query. It really is. And you can pick both sides of the argument and be, theoretically, pragmatically right on both sides. I do believe that you say the Bears, but I think more importantly, it's Poles. I think Poles believes in Braxton Jones. And if you look to last season, keep in mind, Braxton was a 5th round pick out of a smaller school. So his first year in the league, that's going to be a huge adjustment. What he did well was run blocking. What he struggled with were physical edge rushers who could use their physicality and strength against him. Although athletically, he mirrored speed rushers a little bit better. He can move his feet laterally well. He has that type of acumen when it comes to his pass blocking. Last year, a little bit of an injury, so he started off a little bit slower, had some penalties that he dealt with early on. But by the beginning of October, mid-October, you weren't hearing his name being called for anything, which is a good thing. I mean, offensive lineman, when they don't talk about you is when you're doing your job. And he's a young man still, and his upside is there. I think sometimes we want finished products right away, and we don't understand it's a process. And everybody doesn't come in, and progression isn't always linear. There are times where you have to allow the development, 2 steps forward, 1 step back sometimes. And I think what the difference is here, however, is that you have an offensive lineman who is developing continuity with his teammates, someone who's improving with his confidence each season. And not only that, but you have someone where he and Wright can grow together. And I do believe that, the upside is there. Am I saying he has the highest ceiling in the world? No. Is Joe Alt maybe a higher floor right now? Certainly. That being said, I think the difference here, or what we have to concern ourselves with or consider, is that what can help us more immediately now going forward that we need more so of. And you could argue offensive lineman, but I'm going to say it's the wide receiver, because Keenan Allen has an injury history. And he's a Hall of Fame caliber receiver. He has injury history. He's right now hasn't re-signed. He's on what, 1-year deal, so to speak. So we don't know if he's coming back. DJ Moore's contract is coming up pretty soon as well. And DJ has been famous for saying business is business. So don't expect a hometown discount.
That's
so
right.
I think I think the relationship between the quarterback and receiver is, especially in today's game, is tantamount. So I think getting Odunze or Neighbors or a receiver of that caliber is at this moment more important than getting a left tackle or an offensive tackle, where on the line that's not as big a need per se. I would say our interior is more of an issue. You're saying Joe Alt. I actually would look to Talisi Fuaga of Oregon State. I would actually, if you want to, you can convince me on that as opposed to taking a receiver. Or if the receivers are gone and you don't want to trade down, I'm like, jump all on Fuaga, because Tevin Jenkins, love him a lot. I expect, it's not a matter of if, I expect Tevin to not play 17 games. And you see how much more difficult it is for a quarterback when the interior is not good, not solid. It's kind of a donut hole. And you look at that last game against Green Bay, and some people want to, blame it on Justin and not being effective. I'm like, did you see that middle was gone? I mean, Davis left the game, Tevin couldn't move, and the center, that had been an issue all year. And the quickest way to the quarterback is a straight line. So I'm not worried about the tackles, nowhere near as much as I am about the interior offensive line. But I think more importantly, getting that receiver. And here's the other thing too to consider, everybody. Outside of quarterback, receiver is pretty much the next highest paid position. And you want to have that 5th-year option with the wide receiver as well to give you a little bit more cap space. So I think those things you have to take into consideration, as opposed to, it's more of a nuanced argument, but that's kind of how I see it, if that answers your question, Dan.
Well, quick follow-up then. In a hypothetical universe, if all 3 of those wide receivers are gone, unfortunately, because like you said, that's what we need, right? But if they are all gone, regardless if it's the guard or the tackle, do you think the Bears would draft a lineman at 9, or will they automatically trade down as opposed to drafting a lineman there?
I think if you trade, I think they'll trade down. I do. If they can find a trade partner, I think they'll trade down. So I still think they want to get that wide receiver with the speed to kind of help underneath. And I think they need some help additionally at other positions, edge rusher as well. The higher, I'd rather get an edge rusher in the 50s than someone in the 70, in the 3rd round, and get one in the 2nd round. And also, I think next year, right now, the Bears, if I remember correctly, they have about 9 picks already for next year. I think you can address that swing tackle next year. And here's the other thing: even if you want to address it this year, we're so caught up in the draft right now. There's going to be a lot of free agents. There's going to be a lot of players that are released. Those guys will be available. Undrafted players who will be free agents who can pick the teams they want to come to as opposed to being chosen. Those are still options as well. And then there's still trade considerations. The Bears still have some trade value that may be after the draft, between now and say August or July, or whenever training camp begins. If they need to really address that, they can. So I'm not going to be so hung up on that position, offensive line per se, at this point, because again, I think they need to address wide receiver and edge rusher before they really address the offensive line. And keep in mind, we have Larry Borum is still here. You may love him, may not like him, or somewhere in between, but he's still a body. He still has been effective at times. He understands his teammates. He has some connectivity, and there's a bit of a synergy between he and all other offensive linemen. And they also picked up 2 offensive linemen during the offseason as well. So the bodies are there. The quality will still yet to be seen how that works out. And we have to see how things work in Waldron's system. We have no idea what's going to be required of these guys and how they're going to acclimate to what the offense is going to be. It's going to be different than last year. So there's a lot of those things that still have to be worked out. And maybe as you see these guys practice, you can maybe pinpoint more of the type of offensive lineman that can fit Waldron's system a bit more so. Even though we may not know who that person is, they may be someone that is a quality backup and someone that can fill that space that you need until you can get a more high-end player maybe next year.
Glynn, I got one more question for you, and it comes from King Pookie Nation. We all know that the NFL is investigating tampering charges against the Minnesota Vikings, or the Minnesota Vikings, Kirk Cousins. Do you think, according to
Falcons.
King Pookie Nation, the Falcons, excuse me, do you think the Bears will get the number 8 pick because of these tampering allegations with the Falcons?
Man, if I did that, if I knew the answer to that right away, I probably wouldn't be talking to you guys. I'd be somewhere in the Caribbean with all the money I won because I figured out the lotto numbers. But I'm not just teasing. I respect your question. It's a good question, and the authentic answer, to be candid with you, I don't know. What I do believe, however, at this one, it's not as egregious as what the Dolphins did when they got slammed by tampering with Sean Payton and I think it's Peyton Manning or Deshaun Watson. I'm sorry, not Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Deshaun Watson, somewhere, and one of those two quarterbacks, Brady and Sean Payton. So it's not as egregious as that. And I think Philadelphia also has a situation with Saquon as well. I think that it'll be something. Here's the thing: they might not get punished until next year, or they may dip into next year's draft picks because it is so late in the game. And to take the first round pick because of you tampered 10 days before or whatever on something that did it really affect or change anything? No. Did they really get the jump on all these other teams that were just dying to get a 30-plus-year-old quarterback who's never won anything with an Achilles tear? Let's keep it in perspective to some degree. But the NFL, they do not want this, and they do come down. So whatever you think the penalty might be, it might be a little harsher than that. But I do think taking the 8th pick overall might be a bit on the excessive side. But if that does happen and the Bears, if everyone moves up a draft pick, I don't think it really changes where the Bears are going to go. I think it just more or less guarantees that they'll take on doomsday. I think the only team that really may take them before the Bears could be the Falcons because, maybe they want that extra big wide receiver as well. And it helps them in case Drake London doesn't want to resign. Maybe they're looking like that. But I think the Falcons' mindset is more on edge rusher because that's something they've been struggling with for the last decade or so, it seems. And Dallas Turner seems to really fit schematically what they do down there. Plus, you've got an SEC guy going to a school that's in the SEC region, so you've got an inbuilt fan base, so to speak, just something else additional to get the fans, some player they can recognize and get excited about. So I don't think it changes what the Bears do. If that does happen, if they do move up and the Falcons lose the 8th pick, I think the Bears still maintain that course. Unless somebody really comes, I don't know how much one more pick, a higher pick is going to make another team really come at you with something that you need, but it could, but I don't think so. I don't think the first defensive player is coming off the board until 8 anyway. And I think any other defensive players, maybe cornerback might be the next highest position that would come off. And there you're looking at Tyrion Arnold out of Alabama, or you're looking at Quinyon Mitchell out of Toledo. And those guys may go in the early mid-teens.
Let me ask you one more question, Glynn. I know you're about to leave us. If we take the professionalism out of this and just make you a fanboy like me for just a second, I always want to ask people that have been watching the team 30-plus years, if there was one game you could change the outcome of your whole entire lifetime, what's the one that hurts the most? For me, it's probably that 88 NFC Championship game against San Francisco, or for some reason the Randall Cobb play in 2013 when they beat us and Peppers' last play is a bear. Like, God damn it, that one hurt. So what would you say is the one game that you would change if you could?
That one, the last one you mentioned against Green Bay, that hurts so much because they don't make the playoffs. Then
exactly.
Maybe we're in a Super Bowl and we don't have to play them again. So that one hurts a lot. Or it could, for me, I don't know if it's the one game that sticks out, but something else in addition to that during that Bear. Actually, be the freaking Super Bowl, man. It would be stop putting the ball in Grossman's.
Go ahead, Dan.
Stop putting the GD ball in his GD hands. I you know what? I'm still pissed about that. And I'll tell you real quick, 2 reasons why I'm pissed about that. One, I'm a volunteer. I went to Tennessee, so I'm a volunteer. So F the Gators. And the fact that a Gator cost me a Super Bowl, I'm pissed about that. Okay. Secondly, I don't know where you can find it. The NFL did one of the things where they mic'd up the athletes during the Super Bowl, and Thomas Jones was mic'd up. And it was a replay of that Super Bowl, and I'm watching it. And Thomas Jones several times is telling, he's telling Grossman, like, hey, look, next time, don't worry about throwing the ball. You got all the space here. I'll block for you. You can get the first down. Don't try and force it. And Grossman's like, yeah, okay, got you. Kind of like shutting them up, whatever. I'll be damned if the same thing didn't happen. Same situation play-wise happened. And Grossman, I think he was throwing an interception, doing something stupid. He might have been when he fumbled the ball, when he backtracked, whatever it was. Maybe that play, when he backtracks and he fumbles the ball. He gets tackled by a blade of grass, and loses the ball. And Thomas Jones comes off the field. I don't know if he threw his helmet, but he was, expletive, so pissed off because you just see this game slipping out of your hands. Maybe not hang the ball off to Cedric Benson when he gets hit and he fumbles the ball. Keep the ball in Thomas Jones' hands. I'm going to go back to pick like 4 plays from that game that I would want to change. Any one of those 4 might give us a better opportunity to have won that game that we should have won from the kickoff. We
had Thomas on, and I asked him, do you think, because everyone thinks it's Kyle Orton, they forget that Greasy's the backup that day. I asked Thomas Jones if Lovey in the third quarter says, you know what, I don't know if it's the rain, whatever, Rex just doesn't have it today. Yeah, he's our quarterback in 07, but Brian Greasy's playing the second half. I asked Thomas if he thought if they make the change to Greasy, do the Bears win? Aldo? He agreed. He said the game was too big for Rex.
Those were his exact words. He said, yeah, the game was too big for Rex that day, he said.
So if you play Greasy, maybe we win.
Let's go back to the idiot. This is Rex Grossman. Yeah, possibly. I'll go back to the idiot Rex Grossman, who I think the last game of that season, whatever, he's like, hey, I didn't really focus. It was, it was New Year's Day, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, I don't want to hear that from my quarterback that's supposed to be leading the team to a Super Bowl. Focus. What are you talking about? I go back to the guy where, the greatest rant of all time, because, we're involved in it. You want to crown their asses and crown them then. We know who the Bears were. You don't play a third game of the preseason like it's nothing. We knew who the Bears were, and we let them off the hook. Rex Grossman had 4 or 5 turnovers by himself that game. He put us in desperate situations. The defense took us out of it, and Devin Hester won for us at the end. So, Thank God. That was your guy that you entrusted the Super Bowl with. There were signposts that said, yeah, this game might be too big for him. So I don't disagree with that. But I blame the coaches. Don't put the ball in his hands. You're running what did Peyton Manning do? He handed the ball off to Joseph Adai that game a whole bunch. Mm-hmm. Why? Because it was raining. It was tough to throw. And if one of the greatest quarterbacks in the last half century, at least the last quarter century, is handing the ball off, maybe you should do the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's my Alex fanboy Brown, moment.
Yeah. Alex Brown told us that, that Rex didn't lose the game. The defense lost the game because we could not stop the run. And we knew we had to, and we knew we could have, but we did not stop it.
Dominic Rhodes and Adai both had big-time games, like close to 100 yards receiving and rushing at the top of my head.
Glynn, I'm going to let you go, but first, President Biden.
Football.
Yeah, exactly. President Biden has a few words for you.
Glynn, great fucking job. I wish you were a regular on this show. I might be able to stay awake for the entire thing. Hey, next time you are in D.C., stop by the Oval Office. I got an extra Presidential Medal of Freedom I can give you. I'll even give you a pardon in case you're wrong about your picks.
That's our president.
I'll hold him to that. I will hold him to that.
Glynn, tell people where they can find you, your work, and plug away.
Yeah, you can find me on NBC Sports Net Chicago, weekly mock drafts, football night in Chicago that we do, Understanding podcast from time to time. You can find me on Twitter/X at True Glynn Morgan or Real Glynn Morgan at True Glynn Morgan, or vice versa. I'm sorry, sometimes I get it, but just Glynn Morgan, you'll find me on there. And hopefully on platforms that guys such as yourselves, Aldo, and others have been so kind and generous to allow me to be able to ramble on about sports and the one that I enjoy the most, the Bears. So thank you guys. I appreciate the time and the platform.
We love it, and everyone in the chat is paying you lots of compliments. So I don't know why there's a close-up of my face right now, because that is atrocious looking. There's Glynn. But everyone in the chat really appreciative of your knowledge, and so we can't wait to have you back, brother.
Hey, man, anytime. Just let me know, Aldo.
All right, brother. Take care. That's Glynn.
Pleasure meeting you, brother.
Yes, sir. Be well. Bear down.
All right.
Glynn Morgan from NBC Sports Chicago. What a great guy, right? I told you you'd like him, Dan.
Yeah, it was fun. Mm-hmm. I kept thinking he looked like somebody, and I couldn't place it. But in my head, I was thinking the late Louis Gossett Jr. was somebody that, when he's with Belushi, when he's the principal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of reminding me of Gossett on The Principal. That's what I kept thinking.
I could see that. Tooch, are you ready? Give me a thumbs up, a thumbs down, a thumbs Down. All right.
Thumbs down. Well, I'm gonna have to pee when he comes out then. So I'm in my 90s now, man. I have to pee like every 2 hours. So
well, I got here's something that's
speaking of
make
pee,
you want to get your dick out. Speaking of pee.
Don't pee without me.
That is a perfect segue to Nikki. We'll get to Tooch when he's ready to go. His girls are still up. But Nikki, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Good, and congratulations. You and Dan have set a date on the upcoming nuptials, haven't you?
Yes, August the 8th. It's going to be a huge day.
And this is going to be right after or right before you go see a concert.
Yes.
Marilyn
Manson?
Manson?
Before we meet Marilyn Manson. My first time.
Okay. Now, will you be upset if he happens to grab Dan's dick again?
No, I'm hoping for more.
That's my girl.
she wants penetration.
I want full and complete sex this time.
Oh, I love it.
Tom Green had that movie in 2001, Freddie Got Fingered. She's wanting it to be Danny got fingered this time.
Yes, I do.
That's hilarious. Let's see. I think Joe Biden has something for you here.
Excuse me for interrupting. Nikki, did you ever hear this joke? What do you call two nuns and a stripper? Two tight ends and a wide receiver. Ha 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 ha.
What?
What do you call two nuns and a stripper? Two nuns and a wide receiver. Doesn't make any fun.
Doesn't make a lot of sense on that one.
Yeah, I don't know where you got that joke from.
Fuck you, Sleepy Joe. You're dumb, senile, and a loser. That's what you are.
Fuck you back, you mushroom dick.
Now, come on, please act with decorum, with civility, and with the dignity of the presidency, the two of you.
What the fuck are you talking about? It's the liberals on this show who are drinking piss and talking shit. Believe me, it's not something I've ever done.
He has done that with those Russians, remember?
I don't know nothing. I've been told
allegedly had the two women in Russia that he slept in a bed that Obama had slept in and got them to pee all over him.
This is one sex act I was not a part of. I'm just letting you know I wasn't there for this.
Oh, that's hilarious. Squeegee, that will only last a couple of seconds. What about the rest of the honeymoon?
Well, if I could speak on that, myself, again, the goal, because we didn't want a big thing, again, I got married once before. It was $25,000. It's insanity. So we thought, well, we'll get married and, one of those like courthouse things, but how can you make that bigger? So again, the goal will be to meet Manson in our wedding shit. So it looks like Manson attended our wedding and get photos with men. Now I may I may be stuck watching a fucking rock concert in a suit, but I guess that's what the dry cleaner's for. So yeah, the idea is we go, we get married, we meet Manson, make it look like he's at our wedding. We go to the concert, go back to the hotel, get in the pool, do some sucking and some fucking and some coming, and it's a full day.
Is that all you will do? Could we see anal penetration in terms of...
we've done that now. We've done that.
No, yeah. But so Nikki
we had never done that.
Nikki stuck a dildo in your ass?
Oh, no. I thought you meant on her.
That's a honeymoon present. Shut up.
What's the big deal? I mean, who was it that said, love is love, is love, is love, is love? I think it was that Hamilton fellow. So if Dan wants to suck down some piss or eat some shit, I don't give a fuck.
What a nice guy. The former president doesn't agree with that.
California liberalism has now spread to West Virginia. It's awful. Dan has a potty mouth. What a dog. He literally has a potty mouth. I have never rinsed with urine. Never. Not my thing.
Jeez. These former presidents, I think, really enjoy this show. They pretend they... Don Burr is liking it. The Detroit Lions fan says too old. Oh, come on, Don. You fucker.
We'll take it. Whatever. At least
I'm a freak, though. It's fine.
At least we're still able to do it at this juncture.
I know, right?
Exactly. So what is this anal stuff? You guys did anal recently? Well, tell us about that.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I can't tell it from her perspective. I mean,
well, that's next.
Oh,
that's on the wedding night.
Well, like I said, it's a little awkward. It was a little awkward for me, but it always hurts a little bit when it's going to, you're like, oh man, this is going to suck. This is going to suck. This is going to suck. And then once it's in, it's like, oh wait, I kind of like this.
Nice.
Here, you see the graphic? Yeah. It's like once it gets going, you're good to go. So
that is cool. So let me ask you, so what's next in terms of experimentation? Are you guys willing to experiment with like a threesome?
No.
I mean, like I said,
I'm too stingy with him. I can't do that. I'm stingy.
I think we've both done that in their previous lives somewhere along the lines too. So it's like, we're getting married because we want each other,
Yeah. But what about me? I can't get in on this action.
Yeah, she says she'll piss in your mouth too.
I will. I promise you. I promise you.
I bet you probably couldn't handle both of us because Dan is about 6 or 7 inches, and so can you handle?
You thought my dick is 6 or 7 inches? You said? How'd you know?
You bragged about it.
No, I'm not bragging. It's okay, but yeah, you're right.
Hey! I can piss in both your mouths. I'll drink some Gatorade or something for her. I'll be good. I can handle this.
When it comes to that practice, I'm a Republican.
Well, I told you the details that day. But she's here now. Like, again, it was just like I hit the right nerve or something. And again, I'm not bragging or something, but she just kept coming over and over and over and was just squirting like crazy. Wow. And I'm just getting hit in the face. Like, I could shave with this shit. It's so like prominent. It's just all over me. I could have literally shaved my neck, my junk. I could have, so I started giving it back to her, man. So I was like, fuck it. I kept it in my mouth. Like, like the ladies on porn, like spit or swallow or whatever. I was not swallowing. I was spitting it all over her. It was all over her face. I had her hair wet. Her eyebrows were wet. Like her fucking face was making her makeup run. So I'm spitting her fucking secretions back at her over and over and over. So all this is impromptu. And then at one point she just got up over me and just started peeing, The motherfucker was in my mouth. It went in my eyes, up my nostrils. I had piss everywhere. Not in my ears, though. Not in my ears.
Yeah.
I tried to get your ears, but you were laying down, so you have to lay on your side next time.
It was kind of like, if you've made a lady squirt, there's a certain aspect of that kind of sort of pee, even if it's like a third of it. So when she actually did pee, it wasn't that big of a difference.
Cliff has a really good idea here. He says, OnlyFans pays real money. So if the two of you got on OnlyFans and had sex, I would subscribe.
I need to lose like 77 pounds for that. She's fine. She could do it, but I need to lose a lot of weight for that.
No.
I'm just keeping it real with you.
No, it'd be hot. It'd be hot.
It wouldn't be hot to most. Aldo might think it's hot though.
Absolutely. I'm already erect.
There you go. Ask her. I don't know the answer to that.
Has Dan's future wife ever fucked a guy with a strap-on dildo?
No, I have not.
Okay. He wants to volunteer, whoever this person is. He's willing to get ass fucked by you, Nikki.
No. Okay, I got volunteers now.
Yeah, these people pay money for a good fucking. By the way, a couple of people are wondering if they missed Johnny Santucci's Bear State of Affairs. No, it's coming up in a few minutes as soon as he's ready to go, and then we'll come back with Nikki.
He's beating off to the discussion right now.
Let's go.
There you go. In fact, I think we see him here now. Johnny Santucci, how are you?
Hello, everybody. Man, hi, Nikki.
Hello.
You're really hot.
Oh, thank you. You're pretty hot yourself.
Oh, look at that.
Come on.
She said that about me. I guess my shot is come and gone, so to speak. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. Tooch, you got a good Bears state of affairs for us?
Yeah.
All right, so we'll play.
Wait a minute. Is that the audible? Is that where we're going now? Is to John?
Is Dan going to miss it because he has to pee?
Well, that's what I was going to say. Can you all just bullshit for like 2 minutes? I don't want to miss it.
Absolutely.
All right, I'll be right back.
Wash your hands.
Yeah, I'm drinking. I've never had cannabis infused sparkling water.
Look at you.
Climbing kites. Yeah. I bought it on 420, but I wasn't able to drink it. I fell asleep before I could drink it.
Wow. So how much have you had?
I just cracked it right before I came on.
You just cracked it.
Yeah, I never had this stuff before.
When you said you just cracked it, all of a sudden I got this image in my mind.
Nice.
This is a great photograph of the Tooch.
I know.
I need that as an oil painting in my house.
That is a great idea.
Although we probably have a oil painting filter in Photoshop. We could fix that.
Oh yeah,
so.
That'd be the perfect wedding gift. That would be perfect.
I love it.
That or a huge dildo for me to stick up Dan's ass. So,
man, I can't wait. I can't wait
with
to hear
a
that
kickstand on it. I mean, this thing's gonna be huge.
Get one of those motor propelled dildo for Dan.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
I want to hear that story.
It's on our registry. It's on our registry. You can look that up.
Well, this is an easy poll Cliff is calling for. Clearly, the hottest guest is Nikki, but the question is, who's the second hottest? Is it Tooch or Aldo? Go ahead, Nikki. Go ahead, Nikki. Give him the bad news.
I gotta see your dick first.
Congratulations, Tooch. He spit it all over himself.
Yeah, I was laughing.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I got to close on my house on Friday, Aldo. Drinking it.
Mr. Shorty says, put that strap on Nikki, and Tooch, bend over. Bend over.
Mr. Scrody.
The Cubs have won. Nikki, are you a baseball fan?
Yeah.
No, I'm actually not.
Oh, good.
I'm now a football fan, so.
I know. I was watching you as we were talking football, and there were a couple of times you were like, "Oh, how long is this gonna go?"
I did not.
I'm just playing.
I did not.
I'm just playing.
I listen to the show every week.
Do you really?
I do. Yeah.
Oh, what's your favorite Aldo moment?
When you said you wanted to eat my edible panties, I think that was my favorite.
That's right.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I gotta get Amazon. I gotta look on Amazon for edible panties. Edible. That'll really interest my wife. Wait, what is this order for edible panties? Yeah, honey, I got some for you too. Well, who's the other person?
You gotta get 2 pairs to make sure.
Exactly.
And 1 pair for yourself, Aldo.
Of course.
You can wear them and maybe no, I shouldn't suggest that she would eat them off of you. That's wrong.
Why not? Somebody needs to do it. It should be my wife. All right, everybody. It is time for Johnny Santucci to do his thing. I'm going to roll the open, and
last one
then
before the
it'll
draft.
be. That's right. Here we go. Stand by.
Listen, if the Chicago Bears were as smart as they think they are, they would draft the Tooch at number 1. No one is better. He's a lot better than those filthy animals, Dan and Aldo. Go get them, Tooch. Go get them.
All right. Thank you, Mr. President. Bears State of Affairs 2024 NFL offseason, week 14. Final episode, final Bears State of Affairs before the draft. We got what's happening, Barflies. All right, we're only roughly 2 days out from the 2024 NFL draft. The closer we get, the more excited I am to begin the Caleb Williams era. But the closer we get, the more loopy people get. Like Bears general manager Ryan Poles and ESPN Chicago reporter Courtney Cronin. This is from an ESPN article today by Ms. Cronin. Apparently, the Bears GM knows which player Chicago's going to select with the number 1 overall pick, but he's not ready to divulge particulars 2 days ahead of the 2024 NFL draft, as if we don't know. Yeah. Quote, unfortunately, it's one of those things I think everyone's got to tune in on Thursday to watch and find out. We're all sitting on the edge of our seat, Ryan. Yeah, I feel really good about our process, he said, and where we are and where we're headed. Poles said that today during his pre-draft news conference from Hallis Hall. We know what we're going to do, but everyone's going to have to wait until Thursday to get here. Man, I have to answer Poles in a gift. A gift. Yeah,
Oh, nice.
that's the gift I got for Ryan for that one. Yeah, catch Ryan's stand-up comedy act at Zanies on North Wells next month. But all this draft excitement carries with it a certain amount of trepidation. Yeah, if you step back for a moment and thought about why there's some trepidation, most Bears fans, they'd realize that this is the single most important draft in Bears history. Because deep down, the Bears are hoping to break a curse as big as the Cubs' Billy Goat curse. Yeah, let me.
Sorry.
That was it?
I got an early hook.
That's it. That's it. Yeah.
Got an early hook.
Sorry, my finger got
Tooch is like Rob Schneider now. They're just making him leave the stage.
I think Aldo drank a few more of those cannabis seltzers than I did.
I actually did a hit from my pipe. That's what I did.
Yeah, a curse as big as the Cubs' Billy Goat curse. Let me explain. A curse is basically this. In the Super Bowl era, Chicago has simply never had a great quarterback. They rarely have had a good quarterback, and the team's bad luck at filling the position defies probability. Don't believe me? Yeah, look at this. Every team's last 30-plus touchdown passer. A bunch of guys, but look at the Bears. There's just a logo because they have none. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, how bad has it been? Well, in 2020, ESPN put out a statistic that ranked which NFL teams had the best quarterback play during the Super Bowl era post-1966. New England came in first, Green Bay second, and the Bears? Well, 32nd. Yeah. Well, for whatever reason, Chicago's been cursed at the most important position in the game. And no, the Bears aren't alone in having bad to mediocre quarterbacks, but the sheer length of this futility is astonishing. Draft busts, Cade McNown, free agent misses, Mike Glennon, terrible trades, Rick Meyer, injuries, Eric Kramer, bad schemes, bad coaching, bad management, bad luck. And it's not for a lack of trying. After all, the Bears' last 2 draft picks, a quarterback have come in the first round, in Mitchell Trubisky and Justin Fields. It's just all resulted in prolonged mediocrity. The Bears haven't had a first-team All-Pro at the position since Johnny Lujack in 1950, a 7-plus decade drought. Just 3 times since 1951, a Chicago quarterback been named to the Pro Bowl. Billy Wade in 1963, Jim McMahon 1985, and Mitchell Trubisky in 2018, although technically Trubisky was a replacement selection. The Bears have held the first overall pick twice and selected Tom Harmon in 1941 and Bob Fenimore in 1947. In that 2023 draft, the Bears traded out of the first overall pick with the Carolina Panthers and selected Tennessee tackle Darnell Wright. To put an exclamation point on just how much the team has bottomed out in recent years, the Bears did not draft a player in the first round on 9 occasions, most recently in 2022, and they've held the first overall pick in last year's draft and this year's draft. Let's not forget whom the Bears chose not to pick over the years. In the 2016 draft, the Bears had 3 picks in the 4th round, but they passed over Dak Prescott, who went a few spots later to Dallas. The very next year in the 2017 draft, the Bears traded up to get Mitchell Trubisky rather than sit still and take either Patrick Mahomes or Deshaun Watson. Further back in 1979, the Bears head scout Bill Tobin had a first-round grade on Joe Montana, but Jim Finks, the general manager at the time, ignored Tobin's pleas and let the future Hall of Fame quarterback fall to San Francisco at the end of the 3rd round. And sometimes it was just bad luck for the Bears. In 1970, the Bears lost a coin flip with Pittsburgh for the first overall pick. The Steelers then grabbed Hall of Fame quarterback Terry Bradshaw, which means it's been over 50 years that the Steelers have been getting the better of the Bears in trades or coin flips. Oh, but thank goodness there's no coin flip this time. Sitting at number 1 overall, the Bears have their choice of the 2024 draft class. And Chicago's next shot at its next, or rather first great quarterback comes in about 48 hours. And the Bears will try to break this curse and end this run of quarterback failure on Thursday, when the Bears are expected to use the number 1 overall selection of the 2024 NFL draft to select Caleb Williams. Maybe, just maybe, the former Heisman Trophy winner out of USC will break this curse. That is Bears State of Affairs.
Yeah.
I've got to commend the Tooch. I really, really do. His Bears State of Affairs are great. They're even better now that my infrastructure bill helped improve his internet, you ungrateful piece of shit.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. I hope it's as good as chocolate chip ice cream.
I got to tell you, Tooch, you're getting all this attention from the former president and the current president.
Yeah,
I mean,
I know.
geez.
Well, look at that nice picture of Dan and Nikki up there.
Yeah, isn't that sweet?
Really nice, yeah.
That's us and it's our matching hoodies.
All right.
Oh, those are hoodies?
Yeah.
That's very cute. So,
Yeah.
what were you eating there besides each other?
Is that an Italian horn necklace?
Is that an Italian what?
An Italian horn, a good luck horn.
No, it's a Journey Diamonds, like a little.
Okay,
diamond.
gotcha. Yep,
Yeah.
Yeah, Italians wear that little horn,
Yeah, I'm Italian, so yeah.
Yeah. Very good. I like it even more now. See.
Speaking of her being an Italian, she had never watched Dog Day Afternoon, and you got Al Pacino in there.
No.
She watched it with me the other day. Had never watched it ever.
I loved it.
It was good, right?
It was a great movie.
Yeah.
Who's the co-star? The guy that was in The Godfather?
Yeah. John Cazale.
John Cazale.
Yeah.
And don't forget Beckley, West Virginia's own, where she lives. Chris Sarandon played his homosexual lover.
That's right. That's the second role that I know of where Pacino played a gay man. Maybe was it? Yeah, second one.
Are you counting Cruising?
No. Wasn't there another movie where he played a gay guy? Maybe I'm wrong.
Cruising. No, it wasn't though.
No, I wasn't.
He was pretending to be.
Right.
It was undercover kid.
It'll come to me.
I thought that at the end of Cruising, it was implied that he was the killer, though.
That's the implication,
Yeah.
but didn't necessarily make him gay. But
Well, no, remember he told the lead role, that he was becoming confused because of all his time in there, that he didn't want to have sex with her anymore because he'd seen all these men in bondage, S&M leather shits or whatever, and suddenly was thinking that he was gay. So at the very least, he's conflicted in Cruising.
Yeah. Did you ever see that movie, Nikki?
No, I never saw that one.
I'll
put it on my list.
Yeah, put it on your list. It'll give you some ideas of things to do on your wedding night.
Movies now?
We can talk about whatever you guys want.
I watched an old movie last night.
What'd you see?
The Onion Field. You know that movie?
Oh, yes.
Mm-mm.
Sam Waterston.
Sam, what's that guy's name? Ted Danson. And John Savage, James Woods. And
Love James Woods.
Yeah, I do too.
The Onion Field. You know this one? No?
Oh, The Onion Field. For some reason, I thought you said something else. Yes. I don't remember it real well. It was based on a popular best-selling novel, Onion Field, police procedural kind of film.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that.
What year is that from, Tooch? I don't know it.
1979. And it was like Ted Danson, James Woods. They're like kids. They look like boys in the movie if you watch it. I was watching
What platform did you watch it on?
my real streams.
Oh, I
That's
probably
like
won't
every
have that
movie. But it's probably out there, maybe TCM.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. Joseph Wambaugh wrote
Yeah.
the novel, a former police officer, and I remember
Get
getting
who-
a lot of
who
great reviews,
directed
but
it.
frankly, I don't remember much of the movie.
Yeah. you
I
also
watched a movie last night that you had either recommended Tooch or wanted to see it. I can't remember. With Nicolas Cage as a bald guy and everyone's dreaming about him.
Dream scenario.
Yeah. Do you know what I'm talking about? I thought you mentioned that a month ago.
You did.
I haven't seen it yet, though.
I
Yeah,
watched it last
Dream
night. It was
Scenario,
pretty good.
Yeah. What's it about?
So without giving you spoilers, Nicolas Cage is this mundane professor at a college, and he has tenure, but feels like he gets no respect. And he's kind of meek, his character. And then it goes viral because everyone, his students and everyone seems to start having dreams about him. Like, again, they're all like, I'm in a storm and he just walks by, but he's in everyone's dreams and nothing bad's happening. But midway through the film, everyone starts having nightmares like he's either fucking them or raping them or trying to kill them, behead them. And like, he's just ostracized. They're like, you're like the Fred Krueger of dreams, and like everyone hates him and like he's not welcome anywhere. And his wife leaves him. And it's just, man, he goes through all kinds of shit because people are having nightmares about him and associate him as a bad dude because of their dreams.
Nikki, you see it?
No, I'm completely aware of it. It's on my list.
Dan, you have to see Pig with Nicolas Cage. That was really good.
I have not watched that.
You have to see that one. If you liked the one you just saw, he's excellent in Pig. Regular Nick Cage Tuesday.
Yeah. By the way, on Netflix, there is a 8-part limited series called Ripley. That's based on what was the name of the
Talented Mr. Ripley?
Talented Mr. Ripley.
Yeah.
It's basically a redo, but it's much more faithful to the book. And so each episode is about 45 minutes. And so some of the episodes are just like focused on one murder and how the guy tried to get away with it. Very processed. And I know my wife saw it with me and she was like, I can't believe they're spending the whole episode on how he's getting rid of the body. And I go, well, do you like it? She goes, I don't know. It's making me so nervous. And that's kind of the beauty of the series. It really puts you on edge because this guy is a master disguiser, takes on different identities, steals from these people, and then he ends up starting to kill people. And it really is, it's pretty damn good and beautiful black and white photography, outstanding stuff.
Is that on Apple TV or
Netflix?
Oh, Netflix, okay.
Yeah.
The Robert Durst HBO special returned this week, our miniseries, The Jinx.
Have you started watching it?
Yes, I did. Nikki and I watched it Sunday night.
It's good.
Yeah, if you liked it the first time, I mean, it's just a continuation of it. One of the reviews I read about it, I can't remember how to pronounce the guy's name. It's like Andrew Jerkin or something, like the director. It was saying that this whole season 2 is just like a victory lap for him to be like, look, I got him. I got Robert Durst. He's just like, basically calling him a megalomaniac. But I mean, there is stuff like that could be considered an epilogue, for use of it. Like, like he gets arrested the day before the finale aired last time. And they've got conversations with him and his attorneys and stuff that, I mean, it's entertaining. If you like the first one, you'll enjoy it. But maybe it is a little too much, but I like it.
Nikki, do you like, like Dateline and 48 Hours, all these crime TV shows?
I'm a middle-aged woman. I love murder porn.
That's unbelievable. My wife, why? What's going on with women?
They're plotting to murder us, Aldo.
I don't know what it is. Just,
they're figuring out how they can get away with murdering us.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's restraint.
How can we get away with murder? We got to watch the show tonight, honey.
Aldo, I got a quote for you. This is almost a direct quote. So she was helping me clean my house a little bit. It's going to be our house soon. She was helping me clean on Monday, and I don't know. I was mopping. She was sweeping another room, and she said it jokingly, but again, this is fun because I've talked to you about this movie so much. She was like, "I knew that you were the right one when you told me you loved a Serbian film." She also loves the Serbian film.
Baby porn.
Yeah, Newborn.
I did
Newborn
that
porn.
movie.
There you go.
It's really rare I watch a movie where it makes me feel stuff, and like even like to feel repulsion.
Yep.
And things like that. Like it was just so exhilarating. Like I really liked it, and I love the message of it too. You know, I know it was very political.
Right.
You know, the political climate in Serbia and stuff, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I watched the edited version that cut out of some of the more graphic stuff, so I feel like I've been cheated. I'll have to find that.
Oh yeah, you have to watch the unrated. That's yeah, you have to.
You censorship Nazi.
That's right.
Aldo watched it on Prime, right? And it was cut. It's edited on there.
Fucking Bezos.
Yeah.
Do you guys know what movie is this from? This is the best GIF ever.
Oh, I don't
The
know.
overacting.
Is that Where No Angels?
No, but that's a great movie though. I love that. The chat room's
movie
gotta
is
know.
that?
I don't know. The chat room's got to know which one. But it's like the overacting is fantastic.
Oh my gosh, I'm trying to remember a movie where
the director tells him, "I want you to really make this look real."
Nicolas Cage in The Wicker Man was like the worst overacting ever in a movie. Like, God, that was terrible.
I never watched that.
I was like, man, you're Nick Cage. You're better than this. What are you doing?
He was. They did a feature on 60 Minutes about him, and he really sounded like he studies the roles. Even the movies that I know are going to be clunkers, I'm just doing it for the money. I really, really study the role, and I come up with offbeat ideas on how to present the characters. So, take that for what it's worth. But for the most part, he's had a great movie career.
We're No Angels was De Niro and Sean Penn.
Oh yeah. Hey, somebody mentions Face Off. I heard that he and Travolta are going to do Face Off 2.
Yeah, somebody in the chat just said it. I think it was Mr. Mayhem. Yeah, there it is. Mr. Mayhem says Face Off 2 is getting made. Nice. Now, it's not going to be a John Woo movie, right? He's the director that did it.
I'm not sure.
Famous Hong Kong filmmaker known for his very creative, violent scenes.
Yeah. Well,
the double guns.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
A lot of double guns.
Yep.
Yeah, Nikki knows her movies. Look at that.
Oh, yeah, she's definitely a movie buff.
I love it.
Pig wasn't bad, though. Pig was great, man. If you watch Pig, he was excellent in that, too.
Yeah,
it was a good movie, too.
Yeah, it was. He's made a couple of good ones lately. There's no doubt.
Okay, that was Face Off when he was in that was from Face Off, but it was he was dressed as a priest. I don't remember being dressed as
I don't remember that either. Oh, that was
I probably haven't watched that since the first time Danny and I dated in high school, so it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while for me too.
Aldo, I found a Serbian film. It's not on Amazon anymore, like the unrated Blu-ray that I've got. I found it on Walmart. If you'll watch it, I will buy this and mail it to you. Don't make me buy it if you won't watch it.
I'll purchase it. I'll purchase.
Are you sure? I'll buy it right now, literally right now.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Well, I'll send you the link then.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
I don't know why you don't want me to buy things for you anymore. You were supposed to be my gay lover or whatever, right? We buy each other stuff.
Aww. Did I get in the way of that? I'm sorry.
Nikki ruined that for me.
Oh, God damn it.
Did any of you guys see this recently?
Hold on, let me get rid of.
Somebody asked me if I went gay for a few years.
When did Pete Prisco lose his mind? You know?
Yeah. He's just trying to get clicks. That fucker. That doesn't make any sense. Jaden Daniels. So
that's what Louis Riddick was saying. The Bears should draft that kid from LSU. But okay, I'm lucky to have Nikki. I agree. She's the one that left, bro. It wasn't me. I was like, stay, don't go.
Nikki, you want to give us the lowdown? What really happened? Why did you leave?
He was going off to college. I'm 2 years younger, so I was in 10th grade. He was in 12th grade. And he was going off to college, and I didn't want things to change, and I knew they were going to change. So I broke things off so he could go to college, and I could kind of, do the high school thing. So
that's a long way of saying that you were sick of him.
She was sick of me.
He says that all the time. I did not.
She was sick of me.
I was not.
What's the age of consent in West Virginia? That's what I want to know. Danny?
We started
It's Romeo
fucking
and Juliet law here. It's Romeo and Juliet law.
when we started fucking. She was 14 and I was 16, and then the last time we had fucked, at that time I was 18 and she was 16, and then we fucked again when she was 41 and I'm 43. So I would say between the first time and now, it's safe to say we've probably fucked like 2,000 times. I mean, is that
easily?
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, I did that 23andMe genetic test, and it came back that I'm 64% Dan Aguire. So
that's hilarious. I masturbated once 1 week about 2,000 times. That's as close as I'll come to that.
Wow.
Hey, Nikki, you ever been with a Puerto Rican man?
No, I've never been with a Latino man.
Do you want to? I'm going to walk out of here with a yes sooner or later.
I don't know if she wants to share it or not, but tell them the $400 thing.
Oh my God. Okay. It's really good. I accidentally committed prostitution.
Really?
Accidentally. So I'm like 18 or 19, and I'm sitting in a Mexican restaurant, and I'm at the bar, and I was supposed to meet a friend and like her boyfriend for dinner. So she ends up, I'm at the bar having a drink. I had a fake ID, but she calls and says she's not going to make it. So I was like, all right, well, I'll finish my drink, and then I'll head back home. So the bartender brings me another drink, another margarita, and says it's from the gentleman over at this table. And I look over, and there's like 4 businessmen over there. Two looked of Middle Eastern descent. The other 2 were white guys. And I waved at them, said thank you. And one of the gentlemen came up to me and started chatting me up. And, we had a good conversation. There was sparks there. Go back to his hotel, things happen, and I wake up the next morning, and I wake up, he's like, putting his suit on and stuff like that. He thanked me for a wonderful time, said he'd call sometime. It was a one-night stand. I knew what it was. And he was leaving, and about as he left, I rolled over, and on the nightstand is 4 $100 bills.
Oh my goodness!
The part that I don't believe, this is the part I have to tell you all, and you tell me what you think. This gentleman, I guess he's from Armenia, and he said that he was Muslim, and he said he couldn't eat pussy because he was a Muslim. She claims that she didn't suck his dick. I'm thinking, man, if the dude gave her $400, she sucked his dick like 6 times.
Not. No, straight.
If the woman didn't give me any head, I'm not giving her any money. That's all I'm saying.
Cheapskate.
Come on.
The pussy was that mesmerizing.
Well, okay. All right, maybe.
Maybe.
Exactly. That's exactly how Tooch and I have been fantasizing about it. Excellent, Tooch. Excellent.
Glynn, great fucking job.
I gotta get rid of Biden. Hold on. Goodbye. Get rid of him. Should we get rid of Tooch? We can't do this.
This is my least favorite barroom show. Dan is a fat, know-nothing liberal. And Aldo and his family are Puerto Ricans who don't pay taxes. But I watch because of John. I love John. I'm going to win Iowa because of John. Until John is on, I'll take a nap.
Hey, John, speaking of Iowa, when are you moving into the house again? It's coming up, right?
Closing on Friday.
Okay.
Nice. Yep, congratulations.
I got to write a $30,000 check.
Oh, God.
Need any help moving?
I I would love to have you come out. I mean, I already hired movers and stuff, so it's like our backs would get destroyed. I'm like dreading it and stuff.
Yeah, I'd show up just to direct. You pick that up over there and then put that over there. That's all
Look, I'm moving in June. Come help me.
I'd love to. Hey, Dan, we're gonna be late.
Yeah, you either fly out or you can see me in 10 hours if you drive. So one or the other.
Yeah.
The time I drove to you the first time, we got stuck in Indiana and all these car crashes, and it's supposed to be 9 hours and it took 12. I was like, God damn it, like Escape from New York. It was Escape from Indiana, get the fuck out of there.
Oh, the Indiana Turnpike. It's horrible.
Yeah, I remember we passed Purdue when we finally, that's the way we ended up getting there without having to stop anymore, because we just there's like 3 different accidents, all of which caused serious detours. The first turn left, and it's like Chicago and St. Louis, all of the 5 or 6 lanes there were blocked. It was terrible, but whatever.
Yeah. I sat there on that Indiana Turnpike or 74 going, I can't remember which one it was, somewhere in Indiana, and it was that game where Caleb Haney had to come in. I was listening on the radio in the rain with all the traffic came to a stop, and Jay Cutler left. It was the knee injury.
The championship.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Man. Yeah, that is horrible.
Yeah. So, and Nikki, I want to learn more about the actual wedding. Like, have you guys decided exactly, what you're going to wear? And, I know Dan talked about wearing a suit.
Yeah, he got a suit. We got the rings. My dress is nothing special, but it's a dress. It looks hot on me. So
Awesome.
I'm gonna be comfortable, and
It's black, right? And the fishnets are red. Is that how?
Yes, I'm wearing red fishnets with a black dress.
Yeah,
nice.
Did I tell you my wedding story?
No, go ahead.
No, well, my wife immigrated from Philippines to England to here, and we just had a little ceremony at the City Hall in Chicago on Washington Street. I'm sure Aldo knows the building I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
We went back to the Philippines in 2022, taking our girl, because the first time we went, my youngest daughter was like 7 weeks old. So this time they were about 4 and 6. And, my wife said, we're going to renew our vows, but it was really like a full-fledged wedding. She surprised me. I didn't know, and it was, I was sick. I was sick because the travel to Philippines from, Iowa is like 39 hours, and I didn't sleep at all.
Oh my
I got
God.
there, I drank the water, and I was sick for I dropped a ton of weight, this is why I look skinny but I'm back to being fat. But my wife surprised me with this great wedding at there was a resort in her hometown. It was beautiful on the ocean, and she got to have all her family there and stuff. But I got better right before the wedding. It was like, man, it was awesome though. But yeah,
I still think you should have.
I never had a real wedding.
You should have gotten married where the famous fight was out there.
Oh, Pacquiao or Rumble in the Jungle.
Yeah,
Foreman and Ali.
Yeah, that was in Zaire, right?
Thrilla in Manila.
It was Thrilla. It was Joe
Manila.
Frazier. The Joe Frazier and Ali 3 was there, right?
I think so. Yeah.
You should have gotten married.
Frazier.
You should have gotten married where the ring was. That would have been badass.
Nikki, you got a question here from Casey. Nikki, do you really know that Dan is a hard?
Oh yeah, she knows from last time.
Yeah. Yep.
Really? I hope you are too. Are you a hardcore Bears fan, Nikki? Not really. Not yet, right?
I'm definitely fully supportive. I've always been
for real.
Bears. Always.
I'll tell you, she's going to be a big Caleb Williams fan when she starts watching this season.
Yeah.
Yeah, I plan on watching. So
if he wins the Super Bowl for the Bears, Nikki and I will both suck his dick.
There's we're scheduled for 17 episodes. unless we do really well, then there could be some more episodes.
Yeah, but all jokes aside, man, the last time we were together, it was at the 2 seasons that we were together, man, because we broke up right before the 99 season started. So we were together during 4 and 12 back-to-back Wani, 97 and 98. So it's a miserable time and as to be a Bears fan, especially when you go back and you see so many of those losses. The games were close, really close, and like they're losing by 2 or 3, and they just can't get wins. But that's when she was with me, man, and she, my ex-wife, not to besmirch her, God, if the Bears were winning, she was still complaining about how unhappy she was. So Nikki was always supportive, even if I was watching. Oh, the Bears have lost 8 in a row. She was still like rooting them on for me and never complained or bitched about watching a game or anything. Never.
No, never.
There was a great moment in today's press conference. Ian Cunningham, the assistant GM, and Ryan Poles, the GM, talked about how proud they were of the roster they've built.
It does put a smile on your face in terms of the work that we've done. Like, I feel like we've done a good job getting the roster where it is. It makes me feel really fortunate about some of the things that happened to allow us to build the roster maybe a little bit more efficiently than if everything was kind of flat. So it's something to be proud of, but at the same time, the job's not done. I've talked about it before. On paper, it's on paper. Like, you got to play and you got to win games in this league. That's what it comes down to. But we have taken the time just for a second, not long, and we're proud of where we've come from.
Pretty cool to hear that finally from management of the Chicago Bears. They're feeling a little confident. I hope those words don't come back to bite them and they end up 0-17 this upcoming season.
Oh, that reminds me of when Fields was like in his first preseason game, and they were like asking him about the speed. How's the speed of the game compared to Ohio State? And he's like, the speed of the game. It wasn't fast at all. There's nothing for me to worry about. I'm paraphrasing, but that one came back to bite him right in the old taint.
Mm-hmm. Tooch, did you see the pivot interview with Caleb Williams?
Just parts of it. I haven't seen the full thing. It's long, right?
Yeah, it's in a whole hour that he spent with those guys. You know what? What's funny is because I think it was Jeff or Tim, one of the twins that does a Friday show here, said that in listening to that 1 hour interview, he got to know Caleb much better than he got to know Justin Fields, who was here for 3 years. And it's true. When you look back at the interviews that Justin gave, it's all right to be private about your life and stuff, but Caleb gave us a look at himself in a way that really I think is going to endear him to a lot of Bears fans. And there's still people who dislike him. But once he starts playing well and people get to hear more of his personal stories, his life stories, his attitude towards leadership, they're going to love the fucking guy.
One of the things I thought was really cool, I think it was a lady that said that she didn't like the fact that he painted his fingernails.
Was that the preference? No, on the show, on that pivot?
It may not have been on the pivot, but it was in the last few days. And one of the reporters, female reporters, said that she just it was off-putting for an NFL quarterback to be painting his fingernails or something. And like Caleb's response was like, okay, that's fine. That's your opinion. That's okay. You don't have to like my nails. I thought, wow, that's a dude that's comfortable in his own skin there. If Al Gore could have been that comfortable in his skin, he'd have won the presidency.
You're absolutely right. And, when he talked about, when he was a kid, his father, who, heads a company and stuff, he would go with his dad and just kind of absorb all the leadership type behavior of his dad. And his mom was very charismatic, always welcoming people to the house and being real nice. And that he's, learned from them. And that's really what his character is like. He's very meticulous about what he does and sticking with his nutrition, working out, studying film and stuff. And also he just cares about his teammates and his friends and family. So it's a cool guy.
Yeah, and interestingly, so many players come in and they become wealthy for the first time because he was a big-name college player. And the era that he's in, you're allowed to pay college athletes now. Mm-hmm. And so he's already wealthy. Like, so his character isn't going to change. Like, he's coming in and basically, like I said, he's not going to change because he just got paid. He's already been paid, is my point. Yeah. So we don't have to worry about him going wild on the town.
Yeah, He says he's not a street person. He doesn't, he keeps to himself. He's got a tight inner circle. So I don't think we're all, like Patrick Kane, a top Chicago Bears player, was on the front page of the Chicago Sun-Times after a big win. He was not caught, but they published a photo of him with these two young girls. And then
it sounds like John Gruden's brother that coached the Redskins. Remember, and he was photographed drunk with two young girls, and he was married.
Right.
Oh.
And Kane was partying so much that there was an accusation made by a woman, and eventually I think it went away. At the parades when the Blackhawks would win Stanley Cups, he was clearly fucked up out of his mind. I don't think you're going to see that from Caleb. He's going to be much more Michael Jordan-ish than Patrick Kane or any of the wild partying athletes. So Mr. Mayhem is saying he still has a problem with a grown man painting his nails. Tell him why he's wrong, Nikki.
There's nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with that.
The first 400-yard game, he'll forget all about it.
Yeah,
exactly.
If he wins the Super Bowl, I'll paint my nails. I've never painted my nails.
When I was like 9 or 10, I always hung out with guys who were older. Because I read a lot and so forth, so they wanted me around, to read menus for them, to point them to where's east, where's west, and stuff. But I was, always kind of emulating some of the stuff they did, and so they went through a stage where they were painting their nails with a clear nail polish. And so what I would do, because I was too young to do that, I guess, I would just go like that, some of the oil in my nose, and then
oh my God.
Look at that.
That's cute.
Isn't that awesome?
That's cute.
So when I go out, try to talk to an 11-year-old girl, and she'd see my shiny fingernails, and she'd say, "You're a freak. Get away from me." All right, what else is going on, Tooch? What's going on in your life?
Well, it's getting ready to move. Friday, take possession of the house, go in there, do our last walkthrough, whatever, and start moving boxes.
Are you going to be painting walls and shit like that?
No, man. The flippers did a great job, man. It's like move in.
Love it.
Completely
Nikki?
rehab, top to bottom.
Nikki, when you move in with Dan, are you going to start redecorating and painting some walls and stuff like that?
Yeah. There's
She has my full blessing.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. I've already been this past weekend, and I hung curtains and changed out curtains, in certain rooms.
She has my full blessing. There's one room in the house when I moved into it. It's almost like a Dolphins orange, but wink, wink, we'll pretend it's a Bears orange. But I threw all it'd be like if I was a child and had my own bedroom, when you're a kid, you have your own bedroom. It has like all my Bear stuff in it and like CDs and movies and shit. So it's kind of like my childhood bedroom, but I was like, any room but that, because it's already got Bears colors on it. It was orange. Like I said, it's more like a Dolphins orange, but we'll pretend.
It's the Bears room, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah, that's the only one I'm like, dude, don't fuck with that room. But anything else, have at it.
There you go. I like it.
Dan, you have a king size, no?
King size bed?
Yeah.
Actually, I have a queen now. We might get a king, though.
Gotta get it. Once you get a king, you never want anything else. That's just like so much room, man.
That's the problem. Don't get a king size bed, because the queen size forces you to have sex, because
I know we can snuggle better.
Yeah. Shit, my wife and I got a king size bed about 10 years ago. It's like, let me know when you want to have sex, honey.
You just roll over and stick it in. You're good to go.
Yeah, meet in the middle, then you can go your separate ways and get some Z's.
There you go.
The early days of Nikki and I's fucking would have been on my old water bed. I had a big water bed back in the day. I still have it, but I have a mattress in it now because I have cats. That would be a nightmare. But
our first time was on his waterbed.
Yeah. So I used to be good at fucking on the waterbed too. I got to where I'd make the waves and shit help,
Waterbeds were pretty cool.
Get a California king, they're like longer. They're like instead of 80 inches. They're 84 inches long.
So just 4 more inches. Huh? It doesn't sound like a lot, but I know most women
A little bit thinner.
told me, I wish you had 4 more inches.
You know something weird? Here goes something for you, Aldo. I admit, I bought this in 2013 with the complete, intent to have sex with the lady that I was marrying at the time, and it's never been opened. And I have it now. It's still in the plastic, and it's called the Liberator, and it's made for me being 6'5". It's long as shit. It's supposed to be this thing. It helps you assist in getting angles and like fucking the pussy better, like it's like fuck furniture from like Adam and Eve or something. Actually, it was always
furniture.
I had it in I had a subscription to Rolling Stone back in the day, and it was always being advertised in Rolling Stone. So I was like, fuck it, I'm going to send out for this fuck furniture. And it's never been used before, but I think we're going to try it sooner than later.
Guess next they're going to be buying that basket that you spin over your dick. Hanging basket with the hole in the bottom.
Wow.
The sex swing looks kind of fun. I don't know.
Yeah, I watched. You remember that lady that was on MTV? It was one of those like I'm 14 and pregnant or whatever the fuck. God, she was a teen mom or whatever. She did Farrah Abrams.
Oh yes.
Farrah Abrams' her second porn is her getting just fuck stupid on one of those sex swings.
Really?
Yeah, but to answer PJ, Nikki's 5'9"?
5'9".
Yeah,
she's tall.
Nice.
Thank you.
Very nice. How long does it take you to shave your legs?
It takes a while. I have really long legs, so
I like it. By the way, Dan Aguire, I don't think he's ever missed a show. And so one time I asked him, and this is what he said.
I'm not getting any pussy tonight. That's why I'm here. I'm not getting any pussy tonight. That's why I'm here.
What's wrong with the recording? It does not sound like me at all. That's some AI shit. I didn't say that. I feel like Trump now.
Bullshit.
No, listen. That does not sound like me.
It does sound like you. What are you talking about?
It sounds completely manipulated. That is not my.
Higher and a little faster.
I'm not getting any pussy tonight. That's why I'm here.
Something's not right about that. Something is not right about that.
Jesus Christ, Aldo.
You just watched a Joe Pesci movie, I think.
That's right. Does that happen to you that sometimes you watch a movie and you start talking like one of the characters in the movie?
I don't know. I don't think so.
My gosh, it happens to me all the time, particularly if I'm watching like a Italian crime movie, I'm talking like Joe Pesci, So I make you laugh, huh? I make you laugh out.
What am I, a clown?
Yeah. Or
so you're all telling me you've talked like Mike Myers as Austin Powers or something?
No, it's got to be a really good movie. Although that movie was funny.
You know what? I have done that. I have done that. Actually, it was the movie The Fighter with Mark Wahlberg.
You serious?
Oh, good film.
Yeah, and his sisters, like the Boston kind of trash accent. Like I noticed myself doing that, and I was like, "What the hell am I saying?"
Yeah, who was that actress? It's that real cute
Amy Adams.
Amy Adams, yes.
Amy Adams.
Oh wow! Can you
I wish. Speaking of
that Boston accent now, Nikki.
No, I'm not even going to attempt it. It'll be terrible. No,
I wish I could sound like I was from a Stephen King novel. Like I wish I said like, Nikki, get in the car. I wish I really talked like that.
The main accent.
Yeah, I wish that was the way I talk. Like, car and like what's another example? Yard. I wish I said that.
Wicked. Wicked.
Dan, did you like the Austin Powers movies?
The first one I did when it came out, I thought it was great.
There's that one scene where like Austin Powers, he's been frozen since the 60s. They're thawing him out and they're giving him back his possessions. There's a penis pump, and he's like, "I swear it's not mine."
He's like, "That sort of thing's not my bag, baby." And then he has the book that says, "This sort of thing is my bag, baby."
Austin Powers, the penis pump, it's my bag.
Those movies were just like a string of gags.
Yeah,
that's just what made them funny. They were just a string of like short gags.
Yeah, really, really good.
The PJ one tent was classic. They're pulling all that stuff out of his ass.
Yeah, that's right.
It was like Austin Powers too.
No kids, PJ. She's 41, plus she's had a hysterectomy.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, my super sperm would take care of that.
It'll make me regrow a uterus. the holy cum of Aldo.
Oh, God. Okay, so we've got about 15 minutes left. So what do you guys want to share with us, Nikki and Dan, about your sex life, about your personal life? Anything that I can masturbate about after the show's done?
Well, my God, he just told you he spit my cum all over me and I pissed in his mouth. What more do you want, man?
Yeah, that's
And I've sodomized you now.
Yeah, and I've been sodomized. Like,
now that I like.
What else do I have to do? Suck his dick standing on my hands? Like,
can you do that?
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I might be able to do that.
I just gotta say, if my doctor and my pastor are watching, forgive me.
Oh my God!
I hope to God your daughter doesn't walk up and say, Daddy, what does this mean?
What's a penis pump?
Yeah.
What is sodomy?
What is sodomy? You guys, I'm trying to remember the name of a movie. It's a European film where there's a rape scene that looks like it was real. I'm gonna
wait. Irreversible.
Yeah,
That's it.
Yep.
Nicky, you're good.
I was about to say irresponsible, but I was like, what's the other word I'm looking for?
Hey, I got a question for you, Aldo, real quick, and then I'll listen to you talk about that.
No.
I just bought a movie that I've never watched. It's supposed to arrive on Thursday that allegedly had this incredible rape scene in it, incredible in terms of the authenticity, the feel of it. It's from 1971 called Straw Dogs.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
There was
with, I guess, Dustin Hoffman.
Dustin Hoffman. Yeah. It was remade about
remade.
Maybe 10 years ago.
Yeah, I don't want to watch that one. I'm watching the old one.
Both are good versions, in my opinion.
Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah, right? Dustin Hoffman was in the original. Although the
Susan
remake
George,
was a bit
actress?
Unbelievable. I think it was Susan George.
Susan George.
Yeah. I think you'd enjoy it, Dan.
Well, what about, so the first one's a good purchase then? It's supposed to arrive on Thursday.
Absolutely.
It's unrated. It's a Blu-ray. It's one of those, what's the company that restores the films and adds?
Criterion.
Yeah, it's one of those.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. But what was the other one you are talking about? I have not seen the other one, the British one you were talking about.
Irreversible. It's French.
French. Monica Bellucci and her husband, I think, is the guy, the director.
That's right.
Vincent Gallo, right? Or no?
Oh, yeah.
Name? No, not Vincent Gallo. What's the guy's name? I forget the guy's name.
That Monica is always mentioned in Twin Peaks because David Lynch is obsessed with her physically.
Yeah.
I think I got a picture of the three main cast people. I've got this one on disc too. I've wanted to see it again because that sexual
Is this
assault
the one from like 2002? I used to hear a lot about a movie with her in it from 2002.
No, it's a little bit later than that.
Okay.
Yeah. I can't find a good picture. But
Vincent Castle is the guy's name.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Her husband is the other actor.
Mm-hmm. Let me see if I can put this up on the screen. This is Monica Bellucci. And so when I heard about the movie, I was like, I don't know if I want to see, a movie that's that intense.
It's brutal.
It really is. Oh my gosh. But, being a dirty old man like I am, I saw this picture and I said, yeah, I think I want to see this movie.
Dude, she gets destroyed.
Well, if you ever want to part ways with it, Aldo, because you're like, discs, I don't like discs, you can send that one to me because I've never watched it.
Oh man, it is good, and she's so gorgeous, and the sex scene is so intense, and so you're thinking to yourself, man, this just has to be, they had to have faked this, and then there's this scene of the guy's penis coming out, and you go, holy shit, did they really do this? And I think Vincent Gallo is known for stretching the limits.
Gaspar Noé is the director. He's like,
Okay.
he always has like real sex in his movies.
There you go.
Not his other movies.
Yeah. Irreversible. I'm going to send that to you, Dan.
I would love to watch that.
We're sick, aren't we?
Yeah, I'll watch it again with you, honey.
Well, let's hope he sends it.
He's got a movie. His most recent movie, I think, was called Climax, Dan. So you might want to see.
Oh boy.
Nikki, you ever had any rape fantasies?
No, actually, no. That's one thing. Like, yeah, I'm not into that. Not into that. A lot of women are, and that's fine if that's what they're into. But
absolutely,
no, I'm not into that. I think I'm a little bit too assertive sexually, maybe to kind of give that control over to someone. So maybe that's why. I'm just not really into it.
Yeah, I could see that about you, given that you're pissing into somebody's
Well, I mean, that's how I knew. I was like, man, if I piss in his mouth and he still wants to marry me, then he's the man for me.
Well, if you're ever, get into rape fantasies, here's the guy to call.
God help us.
I told you, make that to an oil painting and give me a wedding present, and I'll hang it in our living room. I can't wait for my parents to come over and see it.
Nobody will ever eat dinner there again.
my children will enjoy it.
Oh Lord, that's unbelievable. PJ says the postman always rings twice at the Aguire home.
I thought he meant the Nicholson film. I was like, yeah, I like it too.
Well, you know what? That's a remake also.
Right. Yeah, I didn't watch the first one.
Yeah, John Garfield and Lana Turner. And, for its day and time, it was very provocative. But the Nicholson version is pretty good. I liked it a lot.
An old movie I just watched the other day, you've probably seen. It was Warren Beatty's first movie ever. It literally said introducing Warren Beatty.
Mickey 1?
No. What was it called? I told Nikki I was watching it. I'm looking it up now.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah. Shit. The woman that Christopher Walken and Robert Wagner, Natalie Wood, the woman that got killed in the boat, was in it.
Oh, Splendor in the Grass.
That's it. Yeah.
When I had a high school film class and the teacher showed that movie, and they hint at a lot of things because back then they couldn't make it pretty obvious. But there's this one scene where Natalie Wood goes to swim in this lake, and she clearly is having her first orgasm or an orgasm, because I would suppose that a kid is watching it and saying, Mommy, Daddy, what is she doing in the water there? And what she's doing is, do you remember that scene, Dad?
I do.
And I got to tell you, Warren Beatty, Shirley MacLaine's brother, I think he is. The guy was good looking back then. He made a lot of women go like this.
He's Shirley MacLaine's brother?
Half brother, yeah.
I didn't know that. Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah. I think she's always wanted to fuck him because one time at an award ceremony, she started talking about him like she wanted to rape him.
That's the way Angelina Jolie used to be with her brother. They used to make out all the time.
Yeah, who was her brother? Wasn't he famous?
I don't know. It's back when she was like fucking Billy Bob Thornton and drinking blood.
He wasn't famous.
No, but I think it's like she was like drinking Billy Bob Thornton's blood and shit, and then like was making out with her brother. I think Billy Bob thought it was hot because he's like Arkansas or something. I don't know, but yeah, she was always kissing her brother with tongues and stuff. Yeah, Phoebe Cates was so hot. Is she related to Judge Reinhold?
I don't think so, but
actually, I got a story for you about them, Aldo.
Okay.
You know that the famous scene on Fast Times at Ridgemont High when he's beating off and she's getting out of the pool.
Yeah. Yes.
They talked about it on the 40th anniversary, like 2 years ago, I guess. And Judge Reinhold was like, "Oh man," he's like, "See, it's iconic now, but that day, that's probably the worst day of Phoebe Cates' career." She was like, refused to do the nudity, and the director was I think he said the director's a woman, but he was like, "You signed up for this. This is what you signed up for. Either you do it or we're going to have to fire you." I mean, like that, it's pivotal to the comedy of this, like him jacking off. This is the movie. Like you knew this. And he said it took all day to get that scene done. He goes, all I can tell you is I'm so happy for Phoebe to get through it because she was miserable. It was the worst day of her career. She hated it.
They could have used a body double, so I don't see why they were so adamant about it. They probably were dirty old men. But Amy Heckerling, wasn't Amy Heckerling the director of that film?
I think so. A judge said it. I'm pretty sure he said it was a girl that was director. It was telling him he had to do
Christopher Columbus, but Christopher.
Oh, he discovered America allegedly. Christopher Columbus.
What was that guy's name?
Chris Columbus.
Chris Columbus.
I was joking.
That was a good joke, though.
Oh, thank you.
I got, there was somebody just recently that said, it was
Amy Heckerling.
Amy Heckerling, okay.
Yeah. Cameron Crowe wrote the story.
Cameron Crowe wrote the story, but he didn't direct it. Cameron Crowe is one of my favorite writer-directors. He did Almost Famous. You guys ever see
Good film, yeah.
Almost Famous, yeah. Jerry Maguire.
I thought Jerry Maguire's a little overrated, but yeah.
Vanilla Sky adapted.
I love Vanilla Sky.
Yeah,
great movie. Yeah. Singles is a great movie.
I don't know if I saw that.
Oh yeah, it was great.
Winona Ryder.
Singles, the from '92, about the like Eddie Vedder's in that, right?
I think so.
Yeah. I saw Singles.
Seattle bands are in
it. Matt Dillon was in it, I think. I saw Singles. Yeah.
What's the guy's name? Cameron Scott. It's George C. Scott's son. An actor.
Oh, George C. I yell every scene, Scott. Yeah. hey, you speaking to Judge Reinhold? The Beverly Hills Cop 4 comes out this summer, but not in the theater. It goes straight to like Netflix or something, or maybe Amazon. But the original cast is intact. Like Judge Reinhold's back. I'm happy to see it. I hope it gets him some more roles, and I hope it's better than Beverly Hills Cop 3 because it was atrocious.
Christopher Columbus, he never drank cannabis seltzer again.
Nikki, your favorite Tom Cruise movie?
My favorite Tom Cruise movie?
I know mine right off. Risky Business. Without
great movie. Yep.
Very good movie.
It's hard, yeah.
We just mentioned Vanilla Sky, and that's like one of my favorites.
Great. Yeah,
I think I have to say Vanilla Sky, like right off the bat.
Yeah.
Good film. Great film.
Might be his best acting.
Yeah.
He's a good actor.
I love it when what's her name? Cameron Diaz is like, I swallow your semen.
Yeah, I swallow your cum.
2 times it means something.
Yeah.
It means something.
I love that film. I saw it at the theater back in the day when it was new in like 01 maybe.
Cameron Diaz doesn't do a lot of stuff anymore. She's great though.
Yeah, she's married to that bad musician, Benji Madden or whatever his name is.
I don't know.
He's in like one of those emo bands, or was.
See, one of the movies Magnolia. Did you ever see Tom Cruise in Magnolia?
I did not.
Wow, you gotta watch the movie.
He's like a bald guy in that, right? With the mustache.
No, he's got long hair, very masculine looking. Because he does these self-help videos, not self-help,
Pineapple
but
Express.
dating advice
seminars for men.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Fuck the pussy. Shit
up
like
with
that.
Raised up with the cock, down with the pussy.
Yes, that's it. That's it.
Wow, I never saw that.
Yeah, he's a notorious misogynist, and so it's a multi-layered story with different characters and plot points and so forth, and it all comes together really, really well. I thought his performance there was
he uncredited in that too? I think maybe.
No,
he was the top bill.
Yeah.
There was one movie where he was uncredited in. I think it was like where Robert Downey Jr. played blackface.
Was that Tropic Thunder?
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Yeah, was that Tropic Thunder?
Yeah, Tom Cruise played a bald guy who like danced to.
Yeah, right.
Biggie just commented somebody was doing Biggie Smalls' photo. I forget his name. Yeah. He was mentioning Eyes Wide Shut, and I concur. I loved Eyes Wide Shut.
Edge of Tomorrow is classic.
Edge of Tomorrow was good. I like sci-fi, so I really liked Edge of Tomorrow.
Yep.
I didn't see that. I didn't see Edge of Tomorrow.
Oh man, that was great. You can watch that one over and over again. It's really entertaining.
Yeah, it is. I'm a big sci-fi fan, so I really like that one.
A request for you, Nikki.
Okay.
Would you mind if I masturbate watching you on Aldo's show?
You're not already masturbating?
That's right. I mean, you should see, you should see my hands. They're all gooey right now.
Let's see your hands. Hands up, everybody.
Yeah.
Look at this. A Few Good Men, Tom Cruise, and a $10 donation. Thank you very much. Woo-hoo.
That was kind of a springboard for him. A Few Good Men. After that, he started getting a lot more roles, a lot bigger roles.
How about Interview with the Vampire? Everyone shits on him on that. I thought he was great in that.
Yeah.
I liked that movie. I really did. I liked it.
Yep, absolutely. There was an article about Kristen Dunst where she said, that she was upset that she wasn't paid as much as Tobey Maguire in Superman.
Spider-Man or whatever.
Spider-Man, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, so, somebody posted, the movie is called Spider-Man, but
right.
I read the Variety article. She wasn't implying that she should have been paid as much as Tobey Maguire. She was complaining about the disparity. Now, she didn't say how much money she made, but I'm guessing we know he made at least $13 million, Tobey Maguire. I'm guessing she probably made $500,000 or $1 million, and she expected at least half. She had a better box office record than Tobey at the time. So I don't know if you guys saw that and what your thoughts were.
It made me think of Christopher Reeve. He's like, bro, I was fucking Superman, and Brando and Hackman made double than I did, and I was Superman. I was fucking Superman. But that also makes me think of, in a movie they shouldn't have done without him, somehow get it done, is Robert Duvall said, if you don't pay me something closer to Pacino, I'm not doing Godfather 3. You have to get that deal done. You have to get that deal done. You can't do Godfather 3 without him. I mean, because by that point, you've already lost James Caan and Marlon Brando and Cavell, or how do you pronounce it? The guy who played Fredo. We just talked about him earlier. John Cazale.
Yeah.
All these guys are gone. Like, so you got to have who's left. You got to have Duvall in that, in my opinion. You have to.
Duvall is an underrated actor. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
You guys ever see The Great Santini?
Yes.
Yep. No.
Oh, that's a good one.
Michael O'Keefe.
He plays a retired military man who has that kind of military attitude towards his family, and particularly his son. And there's some really intense father-son scenes in that one.
What did you think about Duvall and Robert De Niro together? And De Niro was the priest. True Confessions or something?
Yeah, True Confessions, I think that was.
Yeah, I thought that, I was disappointed with that one a little bit. I expected more because it's De Niro and Duvall together. I saw that much later. I probably saw it like 2018 or something. And had never watched it, and I was a little disappointed with that one.
Probably didn't age that well.
But just you expect Robert De Niro. I mean, like, his older work usually holds up.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we got a couple of minutes here before we got to say goodbye. I'm going to go around the table and get final thoughts. Why don't we start with our beautiful guest, Nikki? Any final thoughts that you want to share with the audience?
Tooch. I'm sorry.
Tooch has lost out to you. Any final thoughts you want to share with your new fans?
I am super excited. I am just over the moon that I am marrying my best friend. I just want to just throw that out there.
Yeah, you're taking him away from me. Taking away my best friend.
I'm sorry. I'll fight you for him.
I knew I should have spit in his mouth when I had that chance.
You should have. That's how I got him to marry me. I just pissed in his mouth. So
after he gets pegged, there's no turning back, Aldo.
God.
So did you drink a lot of water that day?
No, it was all impromptu. It was all unscheduled or unplanned.
Yeah, just
okay.
We kind of just go with the flow, so to speak.
I just wanted to know whether it was yellow urine or clear urine.
I don't recall. I was too busy in the moment.
Yeah, I don't blame
you. The one
brother.
thing that we did have to plan was the butt sex, because we had to buy the KY and you know, I didn't want to hurt her. I mean, not that I'm so endowed that like, oh, my penis will hurt. I mean, fuck. I mean, but still, it's an asshole. You got to be careful, you know.
His penis hurt at first. His penis hurt at first.
I'm
But like I
sorry.
said, once you get in there, it's it's pretty. You're okay.
Mm-hmm. You know, you can buy some devices to help. With that too.
I don't think I'm that big a fan in it. It was just like she said she'd never done it.
So you probably won't do it much more or anymore.
I'd much rather have the pussy.
Yeah. Time to time if I'm in the mood.
Yeah. Well, what about if it's that time of the month, Dan?
She doesn't have periods. She's been.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah.
Yep. They took everything out. So
And I had no problems with blood anyway. I like eating pussy on the rag. I know everyone else looks at me like, I liked it. I didn't mind it at all, man. I like pussy. What can I say?
He does.
With ketchup or without, huh?
Ketchup.
During the month menstruation.
Red tide.
Yeah, it was the real blood, so no ketchup.
All right, we've got a very personal question here. Let's see if Nikki wants to answer. What's the biggest dick you've ever seen?
Okay.
It's not mine, and it's okay. It's okay to say that.
No, I didn't have relations with this dick. I just saw this dick. It was at a bar, and me and a couple of my friends, and like we were hanging out at a bar, and she was talking to this guy, and like they were hitting it off and stuff like that, and they were drinking, and she just was like, "Hey, come over here for a minute," and I'm drinking and dancing. I go over there, and I'm like, "Yeah, what's up?" She's like, "Dude, check out his dick." He pulls his dick out, and I swear to God, it was 14 inches long. Like, it scared me. It scared me. I was like, I thought it was fake. I was like, oh my God. That bitch is getting skewered tonight.
Have you guys watched The Gentleman yet on Netflix?
I love The Gentleman. The Guy Ritchie film?
There's a series based in that universe.
Right.
By Guy Ritchie.
I haven't seen it yet. No.
I love the movie. I haven't watched the show. There's a show.
It's like British royalty kind of story, and then a seedy underbelly of drug dealing in London. And there's one scene where the main character is a duke who just inherited a big estate, and there's a bunch of other estates and stuff. And they kind of go around. They're like when the duke was growing up, all these other aristocratic kids are now like adults and stuff. And there's another scene of one of the estates and a lord. He comes out. He's like 80 years old, and he's like buck naked with a gun, and his dick is probably like fucking 2 feet long, like a baloney. You'll have to see it, man. It's like, and then he dies. He just comes out butt naked. He has a heart attack, but his dick is like fucking 14.
It's like a car wreck. You can't stop looking at it. You're like, oh my God.
Yeah. Like, what the hell? Who's this old guy? Well, how did he get such a big dick?
That's hilarious. All right, Dan Aguire, any final words?
Yeah, I got to go. Unfortunately, I got to take my shit back to my desk and turn off the alarms and get to work. That's mundane. But yeah, it's always good to see Nikki, of course. Yeah, Willem Dafoe. He had a cock double in Antichrist. That's how big his dick was.
Really?
Yeah. But yeah, guys, taking it full circle, until they say Caleb on Thursday, they haven't said it yet. So I hope the Bears don't fuck this up. I hope he's great. And I'm glad you'll be doing a few more shows because we have more material that way. No offense to John. He and I have good chemistry. The show will be fine. But I'm glad you'll be back a couple more weeks, nevertheless. And yeah, I'm glad to talk this filth with her. She deserves a platform too. And I don't want to just be talking about shit I've done. I'd like that she can confirm it or have her own version of it. Like, we're equal. I'm not the boss here or anything.
We'll have to have Nikki on for some of those shows with all those.
Oh, that's fine.
Talk some movies.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Yeah, Nikki, you've become a big star. Everybody loves you. I haven't heard I haven't read a negative comment in the chat room.
Oh, that's so nice. That's so nice.
That's for us. I feel like I'm ready to go get some fried green tomatoes at the Whistle Stop Cafe.
I've never had fried green tomatoes.
I hated that movie. I know that. My mom made me watch it as a kid.
Sally Field.
Like
Kathy Bates.
Kathy Bates, yeah.
That was classic.
Well, I had to watch it at like 9, man. That was just
it would have ruined it. Yeah.
3 movies I had to watch that same year, I think 89, 90, that I just hated as a kid, but I had to watch them with my mom, was Fried Green Tomatoes, Steel Magnolias, and Driving Miss Daisy. And I hated all 3 of them.
Chick flicks.
Man, what an abusive childhood.
Oh, I hated all 3 of those. And right after that, I had to watch Pretty Woman. But even though I wasn't like beating off or anything yet, I was like, man, this Julia Roberts in these boots, there's something going on here. Richard Gere's a cuck who likes vermin in his ass, but she's hot. I gotta go, guys.
All right, we'll say goodbye, all 3 of us, all 4 of us. Thanks for watching, everyone. We got more Bear stuff tomorrow. Just subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you'll get alerts.
You gotta let them know what's coming up this week. It's the busiest week of the bar room.
The biggest week.
Tomorrow is what?
Tomorrow we've got Mac and Reed are going to talk about the draft for about an hour. And then after that, Danny Shimon is going to reveal his top 100 board, and we're going to talk about the draft along with Matt Shademan. He's going to show us some his thoughts, share some of his thoughts on some of the best prospects. And then on Thursday, John Buffone is back with Jordan Silvera and Danny Shimon, and we're going to go through all 32 picks of the draft and continue that on Friday and Saturday. And on Saturday, I'm inviting anyone who is a part of the Barroom Show, and any barflies that want to pop in and share their thoughts. Yes, I know Tooch will be there. Yep. He's been doing his homework too.
Oh yeah.
So, and if Nikki wants to come in and talk about some, pissing in somebody's mouth.
Casey's got a question for Nikki. What's your
Where did you grow up?
Southern West Virginia, same as Dan. We're both from McDowell County, West Virginia.
Okay,
love it.
West Virginia is one of the most pretty states in the U.S. Got to tell you.
Oh yeah,
I've driven through there. I love it here. Back roads through there, and it is just gorgeous.
I love it here.
Yeah. I forgot what was the name of the movie? Wheeling, West Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
I was in
That's
Wheeling.
a pretty area.
Very nice area. Yep.
Great place to get married, but you're going to do it in Cincinnati, right?
Cincinnati.
I love it.
Nice. Very nice. Yep.
I hope to be there. I'll let you know soon. All right, everybody. Good night. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Good night. Bye, guys.